every month. So that's 50. That's 50 times 20. Yeah,
Right.
and every month is somebody's.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I get you.
used to do. That's how they roll. So 50 people. It might take 2 years for it to be your turn, but on that day that you get 50 people's money, including your own, you are happy, happy, happy.
And you got some shit that you wouldn't have had if y'all
Yeah,
didn't do
because you
that.
can't. Yeah, it's very hard to save $20 for 2 years and not touch it. Very hard. But it might be your turn in the second month. It might be your turn month one. There's the money. Go and do what you like.
Yeah.
And that was only $20. What if it's $100? What's $1,000 a month? And there's 50 of you. And do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just how
Yeah.
it's done. So in the olden time, Liberty, but my mum's generation, that sense of community, that sense of we can have a network of 12 people and we can all put money because none of the 12 is going to try and fuck everybody over after getting their money and I can't pay anymore. My leg, my arm, do you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
There was a sense of community with that. There was a sense of trust. But yeah, as you said, capitalism, that came in and said every man for himself.
Exactly.
So fuck your brother. If he don't want to go out and work for this corporation, he's lazy and he doesn't. But previously to capitalism, one person got the food, one person got the water. You all lived in the one house. There was bare of you, and it didn't matter. Cousins, uncles, aunt, that shit didn't matter. But in that scenario, only one person has to go out and work. Only one, because someone gets the food.
Yeah.
They don't buy it. They don't buy it. They just go and get it because that's
Right.
how food is. And with that, and a mini sense of community,
Yeah.
and then it networks. So you might be in my 12 family, but you're also in somebody else's 12 family.
Right.
It's not how we see things now is it's just my family on its own.
Mm. Mm.
So so my cousin, his family is not really my family. But before, my cousin's kids, they had a role to play. My kids had a role to play. I had a role to play. My cousin had a role to play. My mum had a role to. Everyone had roles.
So you get it. You get it.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
could, if some of us, because I'm not saying we, because all of us not gonna do it. We're
Nope.
retard versions of white people. Unfortunately, it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
However,
yeah.
if some of us could do that shit, you know how constructive that shit would be, famo.
And it's not just it's not just self in mind. So at
Mm.
the moment, like this capitalism has turned us into consumers.
Mm-hmm.
We are consumers. All we do is get money to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
That's all life is about at the moment. Get money to spend it. Get more money, spend it. Get more money, spend it. Get some money and sit on it. Why are you sitting on it? Because when it's enough, I'm going to spend it. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna sit on my money until what? I can buy a house. Nice, wicked. And then what are you gonna do? Buy a car. Nice, wicked. And then what are you gonna do? Buy a yacht. Nice, wicked. And then what are you gonna do? Buy a spaceship. Nice, wicked. And then what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna die, but my son's gonna buy a piece of the moon. And then what are you not gonna do? You're just gonna keep spending this money. So that I'm part of it, but it just goes round in a circle.
Yeah.
So I spent some money on some trainers. Yay, really nice ones. Yay, I'm very happy, very happy. And then the clock ticks around. It's this time next year, and I do the exact same thing. Why? Why? How has that helped? Now I've got two, and I'm even happier.
You know
Why?
what? You know what I think
How is it?
because
How is
I,
it?
I'll
I
tell
said,
you why I think that is, right? Like what you just said, right? Is because we have unfortunately inculcated white culture, right? And
yep, yep,
their
definitely.
culture dictates our desires, wants, and needs, and all of that kind of shit. And if we could get
Yep.
the shit that they got, then we feel good about ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. But the going round in a circle bit of it is, as I've said before, it's all about the thing. So this year the thing might be trainers. Cool, and I went and I bought them Michael Jordan signed exclusive LeBron James trainers. Might be those. Next year it just might be Magic Johnson trainers. But I'm already in the trap of buying the Jordan trainers. So next year, oh shit, I gotta get the every month or every week or every whatever. There is a need inside us to buy it so that we feel good about ourselves. But but it never really works, because that says that you should be able to buy and then not need to buy nothing no more apart from, essential things, food. But no, if you buy a mansion, I guarantee you'll be buying a yacht or a plane or a helicopter because it's not enough. It's not enough.
That's true. I mean, it's always going to be something else.
That's how they've tricked us.
It's always going to be something else. That's pretty much what you mean, right?
Yeah, because it's the thing. It's the thing, and the thing can be whatever it likes. It's never attainable. It's always in the distance.
Yeah. It's kind of like how we were talking about capitalism, right? It teaches us individualism, right? Now, that shit is so crazy, because here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything
you got it straight away.
Everything takes place in a social context, right? And the fact that you speak English and I speak English and I can understand what the fuck you're saying proves that you're not an individual, nor am I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And with the capitalist together, the thing is attainable. It's attainable. If you're an island, you're never gonna get continent status. Never. Yes. Doesn't matter how much you try. You're an island. That's it. That's your circumference. That's everything of you. You can't do it on your own. So for me right now, let's say for me it's buying a house. Fine. Yeah. I bought a house. Ray. But if there were 16 of us, we wouldn't have bought a house. We would have bought a mansion.
Exactly.
And we would have bought 16 mansions. Ray. But because we're working on our own, the house is the best that we can do.
That's it.
But the conglomerates, they don't work on their own. They're a network of people who have millions.
Exactly.
Because they're a network of people who have millions, they make their workers make them more millions.
That's it. I mean, we can even do some simple math with what the fuck I was talking about, right? Let's just say I'm gonna use the pay scale that they use here in America, right? In hundreds, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you and somebody else who both y'all are constructive, right? Mm-hmm. And previously you were paying $500, right, for rent.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now you get somebody else, and now you all are splitting that shit a month. You know what I'm saying? $250, right? And let's say you say, okay, since I'm saving $250, I'm not about to go out here and splurge. We're about to put this shit in a pot, right? So let's take $250 times 2. That'll be $6,000, right? Well, no. Okay. $500, right?
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
And then you times that by 12, which how many months in a year, right?
Yeah. Now you're talking, yeah.
And so now you got 6,000, right? Yeah. If y'all did that shit together for, let's say, 12 years, you both have accumulated $72,000, right? So now you and whoever else, y'all got $72,000 to either split up at the end of that 12 years or do something collectively that you could, make a business or what the fuck ever y'all been thinking of, because you got to be thinking about this shit while you're saving.
Yeah. It's not just saving to buy the next fad.
But you got 72 grand. You would
And
never had that shit.
That's off just paying your rent.
That's
It's
off
not.
just.
That's the money you would have just paid to the rent. That's all.
That's it.
It's the money. Yeah, it's not. It's not any extra income. It's the same income that you're on.
You were living good. You were living okay before you got this roommate and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you were paying it, and you still had money to burn. Now you're saving fucking money, and y'all done saved up 72 grand.
It's time to make that money work.
You feel me?
Money makes more money because money makes more money, and if you've got no money, I don't really care what your idea is. It's not really gonna. You need to build your money needs money.
I mean, hell, y'all could even if you wanted to, right? Purchase a property to create motherfucking passive income, because now you both own this property and you still got money from that 72 grand.
Yeah.
Right? So now y'all got passive income. Y'all still living, you know, in your apartment or whatever the fuck you at. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing it all over again. But you got more to add to it now. And who knows what that'll be. It is predicated upon where you get the crib at. You know what I'm saying? How much you charge for rent.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You fucking doubling or tripling up.
Per month.
Per month.
Per month. So that 500, whoever's paying me rent is paying me at least 1,000.
You feel me?
And out of that 500, I was only putting 250. I was only putting 250. So they're paying me 1,000, and I still put my 250. So now it's 1.5 a month. That ain't no 6 grand. That's 12 grand quick. That's 20 grand for the year.
Easy.
Quick.
You know what I'm saying? Plus, y'all still doing what y'all did to get the money to buy the fucking property, right? But that's only if motherfuckers don't get greedy, though. That's only if motherfuckers don't get greedy, though.
One leads into two. That's how it works.
Once
you're on the property ladder, you understand the benefits of being on the property ladder, and you don't sell up and jump back off. You invest more so that your money works again.
Exactly.
Right, so I'll tell you a little bit more of the story.
Okay.
So the brother that moved in with the parents, he got kicked out. He beefing with the girl. No. Lie. So he moved in with the parents, and she had the baby, and he's an adult, she's a kid. So he got her housed. He knows what to do. We know what to do. So because she's a single mum, she's a priority. We know how to play the game. So because she's a single mum, she's a priority, and within the baby being 2 months, she was housed. And this is someone who lives at her mum's house, so she's fine. The parents have money, they're all right. She doesn't want for anything. Normal UK teen. Right. So now that she's living in a house that she doesn't really need, it's better than mum helping her take care of you, but whatever. My brother and her start beefing. One thing leads to another. She called the policia. One thing leads to another. She called the policia. One thing leads to another. She kicked him the fuck out. Changed the locks. Sent him shop and changed the locks.
Get the fuck
so
out.
He rings me. Ring. Bruv, I think she changed the locks. And because I'm me, bruv, just come. Just bring whatever you've got and just come. It's nothing. But then, because he was giving the parents money, I was like, no, you gotta give me some money now. My little brother gives me money, and I don't ask for it. He just, out of the goodness of his heart, because he knows nothing is rent free. You can't live nowhere for free. So me and him didn't agree on a price or nothing like that. My younger brother just went, right, I'll give you $250 every month. And I was like, cool, bruv, whatever. So with the one that was living there for free, who's 6 years older than him, I was like, no, you got to actually pay this time. It's not free this time. And basically, if you don't like it, if you think I'm charging too much, you can always rent your own place. I'm not I'm not stopping you, and I'm not making money off you, but it's going to benefit me, you staying in my house, rather than it benefiting you.
Right.
because I don't need you to stay in my house. I pay my rent. So if you're gonna eat one of my rooms, you better pay the rent, basically. So that was the deal. So recently, how recently? 6 months now, he's moved out. So he lived with me after his girl kicked him out for about 2 years, and he lived with me with the girl for about a year and a bit. Yeah, a year and a bit. Rent free. Sometimes shopping free, sometimes weed free. You know, I'm accommodating. I'm hospitable.
Right.
Cool. So now, currently, he's moved into where he used to live, and he now pays at least $300 more than he used to pay living with me. So his shit's gone up and my shit's gone down. So now rent is just eating an extra $800, nearly an extra $1,000, which it doesn't need to, but I've got a 1-bedroom flat, meaning I've got a living room, a front room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a toilet. So when he lives here, I don't have a living room. We both live in our bedrooms, like we're at uni.
Right.
So on one hand, the money not being here bad, but on the other hand, I've actually got space. I can actually entertain. I can actually be normal. Come to my house and it's going to be quiet, rather than come to my house and my brother's blurring the music and I've just finished my night shift. I want to go sleep, and you know, all the normal stuff that you have when you live with someone. Not your woman. Because you know, your woman's tailor made for you, or get another one. But your bro, something is new about your bro. What can you do? So, but that brother that I talk about, my dad's got 8 of us. So my dad's old. His oldest kid is older than my mum. My dad's old. So my brother's older than my mum, and his kids are, I don't know, 10 years older than me, more than that. So I got brothers and sisters that are 30 years older than me, easy. All of those ones, there's 6 or 7 of them, they're set for life. they don't live the normal black struggle life, which is so deep.
Why is that? Hold on, back up. You say they don't live, they don't have to worry about that, and they don't live that. Why?
No. So my dad, they're 30 years older than me, at least. So as a kid, I go and see my dad on the weekends, and I have a fake relationship with my dad. And at that time, I don't know, where are we? 1990, my dad had, I don't know, 5-6 properties. He was living large. He was doing his thing. One of my sisters in the 1990s, when she was 20-something, she already had 3 properties with my dad's money. So all of my older ones have got properties, not 1 or 2. They're fine for money. So the one of my sisters has 9 houses. Proper millionaire. Proper millionaire. Yeah, proper millionaire. She's got so much houses. She used to have a house that was near to my mum's house. And it was like her 6th or 7th house. And she, you know, money makes money. She's never stopped. But she literally stole the money from my dad and bought a house when she was 16. No long thing.
Shit.
So that's what life they were living at that point, where money's money like that, and enough for you to steal it and buy a house, and my dad not really do nothing. Might say whatever.
I mean, hold on. How was she able to do that at 16? Steal money from him to purchase a home?
Because he's put, I don't know, I guess the house prices were like, let's say 50 grand at that point.
Yeah.
So in her bank account, she's got like 90 grand that he's just putting in her bank account. And so one day she goes to the bank, here's my ID. I want to buy this. Thank you. Just that simple. Here's my ID. I want to buy this. And the money's gone. What can you say? It's gone. But they got money like that, so it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Whereas, you know, in a normal scenario, that's everything we worked for the last 50 years. You can't do that. But it's not for my dad. He made loads of money.
Was she the only one that he had
No,
like a joint bank account
no,
with?
all of them have got houses. All of them have benefited. So she's sort of the oldest, youngest. So she's a lot older than me, but she's like the youngest out of all of them. So
Hold
when
on.
she was 16, it was.
I'm confused though. You saying that okay? So your father, these were his children that came before you, and the other ones that he had
Yeah,
past you, right? Okay, so
yeah,
she's the youngest of the oldest group,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
he was putting money in her bank account, right?
yeah, yeah.
So if he was putting money specifically in just her bank account out of all of the other ones too from the first group, how
Mm.
did they get something from him?
Okay, so when it was time for the sister who's above her to buy her house, he went, yo, there's £100,000 cash. There you
Mm,
go, buy your house. When it was time for my brother to buy his house, he funded it. He funded it. And I got three older brothers that he didn't really fund, but they're the oldest. At that time, they were already in their 30s doing their thing, in their late 20s, in their 30s, already doing their thing.
mm,
So they didn't get to benefit in the same way. But my oldest, he owns houses. The other one lives in Ontario somewhere. He owns houses. The third oldest, he's a bit nuts, and he likes to like live with women, and he's not good with money, so he doesn't have houses, but he spent houses money definitely. Then then okay, then you got Andrew. Now Andrew's deep. So when I was, as I said, I was going to my dad's on the weekends when I was a teen. So when I got to about 17, I went to live with my dad. One day he got arrested, and he said, "Yo, phone the necessary people. I'm in Streatham." He doesn't tell me that he's in the police station. He just says he's in Streatham. And phone your brother and phone. So I do my phoning bit. The next day, my bruv comes and he says, "Yo," he explains the situation that my dad's been arrested, safe for trying to cut up some woman. Oh, my stupid dad. Oh, what? His woman? My stupid dad. So I can't live in the house. I've got to boo. So I go back to my mum's, and in the year that my dad's in prison, they sell his house.
mm.
Yeah, my brothers and sisters are not fucking about. They're about this money. They're about it. Down to fucking over my dad. So they sold his house. Fine, sold it. Split the money between the six of them. And this is what's so funny. So the youngest one with all the properties, she went, "I don't need that change. I don't need it. You keep it." The other one, the other sister, she's got a nice, really nice house. That's nothing to do with me. You lot keep that money. The brother that just doesn't have a house and likes women, he got the change. He got, I don't know, 50 grand. There you go. And the other brother, he took like 200 and whatever thousand and just put it on his mortgage. Like, yeah, thank you.
Damn.
So
So
yeah,
hold
that's how
on, hold on. Let me ask you this, right? Because now I understand that there is a first set and a second set, and you're part of the second set, right?
Mm,
Of your father's children, right? So
mm.
if you know about this, what was his relationship with his first baby's mama or wife
Okay,
compared to your mother?
good questions. My dad's not smart. He's not intelligent. If you wrote something down, no. My dad's not literate, but that doesn't have anything to do with his intelligence. He's smart, but he's not literate.
Right.
So the story goes, he had the four kids. Hang on. Let me say the name. Andrew. No. He had David is the oldest with the first woman, and David went to live with other people because he's the oldest.
Right.
So so there's David, and David must be 16 when all of the kids are born, all of the older set. So he's the oldest at 16, and he's got like a 1-year-old little sister. Michael, the other brother, must be 14, he must live in America with his mum, so we don't see him. Gary is the next 18. Angela must be 10. Allison must be the youngest. I don't know. One of them's got to be about 1 year old, so she's got to be 5, and the other one's got to be 1. Cool. Right. At that time, my woman who has the last 4 kids, she ran away, gone. So at this point, my dad's broke at this point. So at this point, it's him and the older son and the little kids. So the older son says, "Fuck that! I'm not here to look after these little bastards. Fuck that shit." So the older one cuts. So now there's only 4 of them: Andrew, Allison, Gary, and Angela. So that 4, he's a single dad with 4 kids. Well, 6 kids. So there's a little bit of pity. There's a little bit of, and then he starts doing his thing. Starts making money.
What was he doing? If you know,
selling plants.
Selling plants.
Yeah. Come on, think.
God. Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. But as I told you about the money, he's not doing it. He's not doing it on a petty scale. He's doing it. There's only one person above him, and the one person above him is dropping tons. But I'm a little kid, so it's all over my head. So when I'm 10 or 11, my dad empties black bags full of money and just says count the money. I've never seen that kind of money before in my entire life. I'll never see that kind of money again in my entire life. And it was just thrown on the floor, just count it. And okay. And what is the C note your biggest note? It was all C notes. There were no little shits. It was only big shit. Right. £50 notes, which I guess is $100. Only that. Just count them. Count them. So that's how my dad, when I was a teenager, 11 and 12, that's how he had money at that point. Because he was doing his thing massively. My dad don't smoke. My dad don't drink. He's not a part of that world. Right. He's just a facilitator. But his dude doesn't get his hands dirty. So his dude gives it to him, and then he's just a facilitator. He doesn't go out and make no money. His people come and they take what they're taking and they pay. And then he pays the guy and the circle continues. But he's not really involved. He is involved, but he's not really involved.
Right.
He's somewhere in the middle. He's like middle top. So he gets a fat cut of the money, but obviously the guy whose stuff it is, he gets millions. I would assume. If my dad's got hundreds of thousands, right, that guy would have millions.
You got to know it.
Yeah, definitely.
The worker ain't making more money than the goddamn supplier at all.
No way. So they were living like that, and like I said, my dad's not literate, so he's got cash. He knows how much money he's got, but when you start having to bank it and start having to put it in a bank, and it's better that my 16-year-old thingy who can fill out the application form. You feel me? So that's how she would have her name on an account that's got thousands in it. That's how, because he would need an accountant. His literary skills ain't up to it. Literally ain't up to it. If you look through his phone book, you're like, raw. Are those numbers or letters? Raw. But that hasn't stopped him. So I got a bit forward. So they sell his house.
Right.
He's got more than one house at this point though. But it's at the end. It's when his money's finished now. So they sell his house, and I go and live back with my mum. And then he gets out of prison, and he goes to move into his other house, and he lives in his other house. Actually, where did he live after they sold his house? Where did he live? I don't remember where or when he came out where he lived. I just remember that I was living at my mum's, and my mum had then kicked me out, so I was now living on my own. So where he lived wasn't important, because now I've got my own kind of space.
Right.
But anyway, the story goes, now as an 80-year-old man, He now lives with my brother, who took the 250,000 and just put it on his mortgage. Just put it on his mortgage. So the house they live in, because remember, money, they're very money orientated.
Right.
One of my sisters got 9 houses. So the house that they live in is now worth $1.5 million. And they're quite, they're very proud of that. Because all of the children are legit. My dad's not, but all of the children are legit. So all of their houses are legit now.
Right.
So they're very proud that oh, my dad's, not my dad so much, but a little bit. I live in £1 million house. Yeah, but you live with a son who would steal your money if it came down to it. So there's a bit of, it's not envy and it's not hate and it's just when I was a youth, I wanted to be dealt with like all of my elders were dealt with.
Right. So
as a youth, I thought that when I turned 18, I'd have a house as well. And it wasn't, and it's definitely not that. The older ones are circling and making sure no paper slips out because they feel it comes out of their money.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? The first batch, right, of your siblings, right? How do they relate, or have they related to you?
Nope. When I was 13 and going to my dad's house, they would check for me. As in, they would come to my dad's house, see me, and oh, it's my little brother. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Next week I take you shopping. That's their interaction, and so because obviously capitalist, materialist, and it's easy to buy kids. It's easy.
Yeah.
You just say Nintendo and it's a wrap. So, come on. So, I would always live in that expectation bubble that because they've got money, they would pass it on. So, sometimes I'd get a Nintendo, but not from my brothers or sisters, but just because my dad's got money like that.
Right.
So, he's got money like that. So, whatever I want, I kind of get it from him, but he's got no... Like how your dad doesn't know about Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
He's got no knowledge of nothing. So I can tell him what I want and I can go to the shop with him and point and he'll just buy it. But as for Dad, can you go and buy me Yeezys? He's got not a clue. He'd come back with Clark shoes and I'd be like, oh, Dad, come on. Whereas my brothers and sisters, they would be in Gucci and Armani. So I could go to them, yo, There's a new Nike coming out, and they would understand and they would know and they would be able to get it for me. So living that life, it was very materialistic and it was geared towards getting stuff.
So
but then the tables turn when at one point my dad says to me, I only go and see him for money, and that just makes me, that turns my button completely off. Because I need money every single day of my life, but I don't go to see you every single day of my life. Come on. So the fact that you can say that statement, we can't really fuck with each other then. I'll show you that I don't want your money. I'll show you.
Right.
Won't come and see you at all. So the relationship, from that point, the relationship was kind of dead. Because he's trying to put me in the same boat as users and thieves. And literally only fuck with you for the money. And they're adults and I'm a kid, so he's putting their bullshit on me. And it was a self-perpetuating circle. So I didn't phone him and he didn't phone me. But then he says that I don't care. And I'm thinking, yo, but you're an adult. You're meant to check for your kids, not your kids meant to check for you. And when I was a kid, you didn't check for me. I came to your house.
Right.
You didn't turn up at my mum's house. It was me coming to you. If I didn't come, you wouldn't see me. You wouldn't know me. So to say that I'm just in it for the money is my pride couldn't take that.
I understand. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this right quick. 2 questions, right? With that putting a strain on your relationship, right? You and your father. One, did you share this information with your mother, and if so, what did she have to say about it?
So she, as a normal parent, as a normal single mum, they don't really want you to go and meet your dad because your dad ain't shit, and they know that your dad ain't shit. But as a child, you don't know that your dad ain't shit. until he shows you that he ain't shit. You feel me?
Mm.
So my mum could have said all of the shit that she wanted, and I always wanted to see my dad. And as I said, a kid can be bought, so there was always a sense of yay, yay, because my dad doesn't worry about money like how my mum does.
Mm.
So there was that side. But when all of that happened, I'm like 17, 18. So yeah, I speak to my mum and I tell my mum, and she's like, yeah, kind of told you so. Told you so. And I'm like, oh, that's what you was trying to say. That they're money orientated, and because they think everybody else is.
Mm.
So they treat everybody else like they can be bought or they can be. And I live with my mum, so I'm not like them.
Right. How many children did your mom have with him besides you?
No, just me.
Just you. Me. Okay. Okay. All right.
So I got 8 brothers and sisters, and I'm an only child. so it's confused.
So your mother only had one child, and
my dad, yeah.
And you have 7 other siblings with multiple females, right?
Okay, so my mum's got 4 of us, 3 sisters, and me. My dad's got David, Michael, Andrew, Gary, Alison, Angela, 6 older ones, me, Nathan, Tessa. So there's 9. That's 9 of us.
God damn, y'all like a Tribe Called Quest. Shit.
Questing for the money.
You motherfuckers are deep.
So my older brothers and sisters would say basically, you need your dad. You need to make an effort with your dad. Like, when he dies, you ain't gonna get no money, and that just cracks me up to my. So I was 17, 18, and my sister had 6 houses. She didn't care that I was homeless, and she had 6 houses. So how was that? She's now got 9 houses. She still does not care. She does not pick up the phone. So when there's money to be divided out, I'm sure mind to it. The first 6 will divide up the money like they always do, and that will be that.
let me
regardless of what my dad says or what he wants, regardless.
Let me ask you this, right? The first batch, right? Does any of them reach out to you at all? Any of them?
No. So the oldest one, David, when he was 16, he was out. He said fuck this, and he went. He's got kids. His kids are older than me. So my nephews and my nieces are 40 plus. And they're proper people. They've got houses, they've got proper jobs. But it's not through my dad's money, it's through hard work.
Okay.
So they're normal people. Mortgage, houses, normal people. And because they're me, it's a decent relationship, but I don't really fuck with them.
Right.
But it's a decent relationship. They're slightly older than me. That brother, he's not a part of it at all. He's not in it at all. He don't really speak to my dad. He's like the outcast. Because when my dad needed help, he ran away, basically. But he was a kid. You weren't meant to put your adult problems on a kid's shoulders, basically. Right. He don't fuck with them. The other one in America, he don't fuck with them. He's in America. He don't fuck with them. He lives with his mum. And out of those 4, money is their god. That's what they worship.
Wow.
And so I'm very materialistic because I'm part of that, but at the same time, I know that it's not through hard work that you get what you get. I know.
Yeah.
It's through it's through your social and economic position.
Yeah.
So my oldest brother, his kids are all right, but that's because the baby mum's parents are normal people, and she's a normal person. So she went to work. They went to instilled it in their kids, and they've gone to work and they've bought their houses like normal people do. You know, gone to university, got degrees, normal, ticking all the boxes. But they're the only sort of normal ones. All of the other ones are they live a fantasy world.
So
So the one with nine houses, she
yeah,
will tell you that she's got a degree, and she will tell you blah blah blah. And if you listen to her, you'll think that that's where she's a normal person. She's got a degree, she works hard, and that's why she can afford what she can afford. But it's all bullshit. She was three houses deep before she was 21.
mm,
There's no kid that we know that's three houses deep before they're 21.
not me. I don't. Shit, I'm sure they
I don't
exist, but
know. I
I don't
don't
know
know
the
no that.
motherfuckers. God damn, three
So
houses
so
deep.
yeah, she was three houses deep when she was 21. Yeah. She
Shit.
she had a house when she was 16. I don't know any 16-year-old whose thought is to buy a house.
That's the interesting part right there. Like, who, how is her mother? What type of female is her mother, or the people who are around her, for
Ran
her to have
away.
that thought to
The
be
mum ran
like,
away. The mum ran away.
so who was she with? She was
So
with your father.
yeah, 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 yeah.
God damn. So she had that
So she's
foresight.
watched. Oh, so no. So she's watched him buy house after house after house because that's all he can do with his money. He can't really.
Oh,
He can't really do. She's not. She's learning from him, but he's just making up as he goes along.
okay.
So in the beginning, when his woman ran away and he had the little 1 year old, he won't buy no houses. But 7 years, 5 years later, or when she's a big girl, when she's 10, 13, yeah, he's bought houses. When she's 15, he's bought so many houses he can't buy no more.
Right.
So when she was about 16, he must have had about 4 or 5 houses. So that's where she gets it from.
Okay. So she just
And
inculcated the hustle.
and like yeah, and so what I haven't clocked onto, never, it's just now talking to you. Oh, so the money comes from plants, but it also comes from rent. I've never clocked that it's also come from rent. But yeah, he's had houses. He must have been renting out these houses for 10 years, 20 years minimum. So that's where more money comes from. And I guess that's where she's seen more money comes.
Hmm.
So
Let,
that's what she was like.
let me ask you this, Famo. Like, I
Mm,
understand what you said about, how it was, and what he said to you, how he felt that,
mm,
you were just about the money, just like his other children or your siblings, right?
mm, mm,
However,
mm.
do you ever feel like you would like to reach out to him and have a personal relationship with him, or at least see if that's possible?
Okay, so I did live with him. I lived with him when I was a teenager. And we probably still would be living together today if he didn't go to jail and then my family saw that as a way to make money.
How they make
So,
money from him going to jail, and you
so
being.
remember they sold his house. Remember they sold his house.
Oh, you talking about your sibling? Okay, okay.
Yeah, but before they sold his house, they rented his house.
Mm,
They didn't know. If you do something serious, you go on remand, and then you go to court. So he was on maybe remand for a whole year. So they rented out his place for a whole year, and then when they realized that he's gonna get 2 years, 2.5 years, and he's already done one, so he'll be out in half a year. They had half a year to sell that house. That's what they did.
mm.
So he's bitter about lots of things, but he's not meant to take it out on the kids that didn't live with him, didn't grow with him, because I've got a different morals and standpoint than all of my brothers and sisters because of my mum,
Mm,
and I got a
mm.
bit of pride. Got a bit of pride, a little bit.
Let
So
me.
they've got pride, but it's not. It's not.
It's
They're
different,
proud of what they've achieved, what they've accomplished, but it's
right?
not off the sweat of their own backs. And
Mm,
to say that is a bit of a libby. It's a bit of a libby, but it's not. And the reason why it's not, yes, they've all worked hard. Yes, they've all had jobs since they were 16. Because yes, they've all known the value of this money. But having money gives you different options. So they had different options than normal 16-year-olds, normal 20-year-olds, normal 25-year-olds,
wow.
which I just weren't privy to.
Now,
So there's a bit of animosity, but it's fake. It's not real. because I didn't work for this money, I don't deserve it. So it's nothing if I don't get it. Whereas they see it as their money. So they're sort of mad at my mum. Because remember, I said some of them are older than my mum. My three brothers are older than my mum. So the girls are seeing my mum as a threat. And they're seeing me as a threat to their money. So there's always been that kind of scenario. And so that's why my mum's been able to say, your family ain't shit. But go and find that out for yourself. And when push came to shove, my dad was having money lyrics for me. and the reality is, my sister, 9 houses, but she's never phoned me 9 times in my entire life.
Wow.
My brother, he's never had my phone number. My other brother, nah, none of them fuck with me. So the one that lives in America, he's always lived in America, so we've never met him. The brother that lived in my house rent free, the brother in America on 3 different occasions has sent the money so that he could go over. My little brother's my age, so he's gone over to America 3 different times. So I jumped on that, but unlike, because this is just my life, so I had to use my uni money to buy my ticket because for whatever reason my brother wasn't on buying me a ticket. I don't know why. And the joke is, that brother I've never met, and it was only when I went to America. No, I did meet him. He come to England a couple of times, but I live with my dad. His mum from America came and lived with my dad because my dad was sick. So she picked up herself and came all the way from America. So I know his mum. I've lived with his mum. His mum cooked me dinner 7 days a week. I like his mum. But yet, for the brother that don't know his mum, that's the one that he sent for 3 times. So kind of, yo, what about me? And then I had to do it out of my own money.
God damn, Famo.
They don't make no sense.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? Like from your father's side and your mother's side, right? One thing, 2 questions. What side of the family are you closest with, and what side do you spend the majority of your time with that actually contacts you?
Okay, so me and my brother, the one who don't pay no rent, we are 6 months apart. We are that close. So he's lived with me since we've been 21. He's lived with me for at least 4 or 5 years. So I'm close with him. We speak every day. I'm close with him. But he didn't grow up with my mum, so he's not like me. We're so similar. But the environments that we lived in make us completely different. But we're so similar. So we both wear glasses. I can wear my brother's glasses because our prescriptions are so similar. We look quite similar. But my mum's been on this Jehovah from day one. So I've got it instilled in me to try and help people. So whatever way I can, I will try and help my brother. But he won't try and help me. I would let my brother come and stay in my house, no problem, no question, no nothing. And it's not that he won't, because he will have to, because of how many years he's lived. It wouldn't be his first fault. Now I'm broke. I got £1 in my account. I've said that to him numerous times. He's not broke. He's got money. He hasn't offered to lend me not £10, not £5. I'm not gonna ask him to borrow me some money until I need plants and it's desperate. But I'm not gonna ask him. Whereas shoe was on the other foot, I'll just drop him some money. I would just literally go and, yeah, you're broke, innit? All right, have £100. Pay me that back when you get paid, thanks. But he's not like that. So he came to my house today. I've been broke since the beginning of this month. It was my birthday. I don't even have cigarettes. He bought cigarettes. When he left, he didn't even leave me one.
Damn.
Whereas, whereas, when it's on the other foot, I give him trees to go home with. Yeah, take that gun. Take that, take that. So just so you don't have nothing. So we're not the same. So I put loads of time with him. I got three sisters, older one, two younger ones. I speak to the youngest one every day, and I speak to the oldest one from my mum nearly every day. The other one, the middle one, me and her's got the best relationship, but it goes sour. At the moment, we don't really talk to each other.
Why?
But when we do, my leg's broken. We meet. See, we've got a wicked relationship. We go to watch cinema every week because she's got unlimited cinema, so it's only to pay for one of us. So we go cinema every week. My leg's broken. Instead of her instead of her saying, "Yo, where are you? I'll come and pick you up. Let's go cinema," she was expecting that I make my way to her. I got a broken leg. Come on, and I'm going to use public transport.
And she knows this, right?
Pain. Yeah, and it's going to take hours, and I'm going to be in pain. And you're not, just like my other brother. You're not. You don't take it upon yourself to offer.
Right.
So she's telling me to come down the 12 miles. Come down 12 miles, and then I'll drive us to the cinema. What the extra free? That I wasn't really feeling it because that's not love. There's no love. If her foot was broke, I'd come and bring her dinner. I'd go all the way to her house and bring her dinner. Now, it's not the same. She would drive to my house, and I would use public transport. So for me, it's a bigger thing. But I'm the one who would think about it. She wouldn't think that way.
And the sister that you're talking about is one of the sisters that's from your mother, right?
Yeah. Now it's her birthday yesterday, and it was my birthday the day before. We're born the day after each other. So when we get on properly. We get on perfectly.
Right.
But because we get on perfectly and properly, when we don't, we don't. Where me and her are very similar, but she's just a girl, so I can go without talking. I can go without talking to my dad for 10 years. It doesn't matter. She can go without talking to me for 10 years. It doesn't matter. Even though we're really close, she can go 10 years without talking to me. It won't. It's no skin off her nose. And I've got that kind of mentality as well. So sometimes we clash.
Yeah, that sounds like an inbred thing from situations and shit, for both of y'all. Y'all could go without talking to us. I mean, because I'm like that too, you dig? But, I understand that my situations are different. I left my mother and my 5 other siblings at fucking 14. And I never went back until I got arrested for some fuck shit. And I had to be on the tether. And I stayed there for a couple of months. And then once white people cut that tether off, I'm out. I'm gone. Yeah. I never been back.
What age was you when you went arrested? How was the gap?
I was arrested at 17.
3 years. Yeah, that's enough time to be a man on your own.
Yeah, I was out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Life kicking my ass.
Days,
you feel me?
1,000 days enough for yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your mum has to say.
No. I
sort my own dinner.
And then again, I had to understand that and this is not a contradiction, which a lot of people think it is, right? There's no question that I love my mother, right? Because that's kind of big with so-called black people, right? You only got one mama, right? Motherfucker, I don't need you to tell me that shit. I love my mother, right?
It's my mom. It's my mom.
However, I could say that my mother didn't teach me shit. Okay, well let me retract that. If I was to tell you the most important thing that my mother taught me, it was to remember my social security number.
Damn.
That's it. Okay, everything else I had to learn on my own when I left at 14. I had to get my ass kicked. I had inculcated certain ideals that she had because I was around her the most. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
around hood motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So I got my ass kicked, all kind of shit, and I learned from
yeah,
it. And
yeah. You had to,
it was a
had
good thing
to.
though because I have three other brothers, right? And right now, today,
Younger,
fucking yeah,
younger brothers.
younger
Yeah,
brothers, but they all grown though, right?
yeah, yeah.
However,
But they're
they
younger than
they
you.
have never left her, even when she moved from Detroit to motherfucking Alabama. Right now, they have been with her, right?
Um,
And
and
right
they
now,
follow.
March 16th, 2018,
Mm,
you could tell if you met us, you would tell the difference between us because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they don't come from the same reality that I came from, even though
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
grew up together when we were younger. You know what I'm saying? I wiped all their asses and shit and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah. No, I feel you completely.
you
Because
know,
remember what I was saying about my sister, the older lot. If
yeah.
you put me with them, it's like we're not even family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's like there's no actual relation. You can see a few features that our faces look similar, but our mannerisms and our actions and how we deal with life is on such a complete opposite scale.
Yeah,
So
so
I
different.
understand what you're saying completely because they've never left the nest.
Never.
All of the things that you've had to take in your stride, they still are new to. So if they still haven't left mum, can any of them cook?
Ex-
Not really.
exactly.
Not really.
Right.
Not really.
I.
And then what? Does mummy still wash their clothes and make their bed? Stop it. What world
Mm-hmm.
is that you live in? Stop it.
You don't get a chance to grow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I see in my brothers. And that's why I say that unfortunately, under white domination, you know what I'm saying? Um, the worst place for a lot of us to be is around the females who we love. That's the worst place for you to be because they will coddle you. They will inculcate you with goddamn white domination ideologies and shit.
Yes. Yes. My mum is well on the
Yeah.
Jehovah. Well on it. All
Hey,
right. So to cut subject, I just tell you the story that the little conversation I was having with my mum.
yeah,
So we often have these conversations because I grew up with this Bible nonsense. So now I've got questions. She's my go-to person. But now that I'm an adult, my questions can't be answered. They're not that simple. So it started off with I said to her, in the book of Revelation, it says that there was a war in heaven and the devil got cast out onto earth. And you lot say that was in 1914. For real? But yeah, that's what they say. First World War and the devil got dashed out. That's what they say. So no, that's not the bit to laugh at. Wait, that's not the bit to laugh at.
I ain't never
So
heard
I
that
said,
shit. First of all, hold on.
yeah.
I ain't never heard that shit.
Oh
A
my days.
time, a date,
I've been growing up with that shit.
a
Yeah.
date.
So I went to her today. Hang on, but didn't John the Baptist write that? Like when Jesus was alive.
Right.
And I was like, so that's taken ages. That's taken like 2,000 years. So the devil got to read what John the Baptist wrote 2,000 years ago, that there was going to be a war in heaven with him and he would lose and get dashed out. That's a bit deep. That's a bit deep, Mum.
Prophecy.
What other prophecies in our time have happened like that?
Right.
Then she started going into the stuff that is not prophecy, stuff that they thought that they had to change, and I was like, no. What prophecies? Because that 2,000 years from Jesus till now, that's kind of a long time. I would have thought if there was a war in heaven, it wasn't in the 20th century that there was a war in heaven. If it was prophesied in Jesus's time and before Jesus's time, blah 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 blah. So then we got on to then I was trying to explain to her that if the Bible's older than mankind, because God wrote down everything that was going to happen pre to mankind. So the devil knew this on countless. He knew it throughout his whole life that this is what was going to happen. Anyway, but she said something to that 2000. Oh no, I remember now. My brain. I said, God in the Bible does say when the last days will come, you can work it out from what he says. The only thing that we can't work out is how much of a day, what God's day is. So God said basically in 7 days I'm gonna blow up the world, but we don't know what one day of God's equals to, so we can't know the day. But he's said it clearly. And then she was like, well, no, not really. And I was like, no. He said that there's a war in heaven. The devil got dashed out, and the devil will roam the earth for 1,000 years. That's what he said. And then she was, no. So we got back to the world is only 6,000 years old. And I went, Mum, there's buildings that are older than that. So stop it. And then the conversation starts to break down because she doesn't like to hear that. And I was like, the pyramids are at least 4,500 years old.
I don't want to hear about no damn pyramids.
And I'm not off by more than 1,000 years with that. And the big sphinxy thing's even older than them. That's about 5,000, 6,000 years old, Mum. So then she started to tell her to do the research, and I was flabbergasted. I was just like, Mum, what are you talking about? Do the research. They're digging up bones all over the show, and they're saying that these bones are 50,000 years old, 150,000 years old, and these are people. So either you're right or they're right. There's no do the research. One of you's right, one of you's wrong. Can't be both right. It can't be people dated 50,000 years ago, but we've only been here for 6,000 years. And obviously that's where the breaks down, and I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, carbon dating's a real thing. I don't have to research carbon dating. It's a real thing. Whether it's correct or not is another thing. But at least they've got some proof. At least they've got some bones to show me. You got some book.
What I would say about that, though, right? This is something that I had to come to my own conclusion about later on, right? Being that the paradigm that I came from, being in Christianity for damn near 13 years of my life, 4 days out of a week, right?
Yep. Same.
By a female that I love, which was my grandmother, my father's mother, right? She used to come and get me. I didn't live with her. She came and got my ass, okay? Take me to church,
Jesus.
okay? Now, I don't see it as a contradiction, being that, one, white people are very sophisticated, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, in contrast to us, unfortunately, right? And number two, that it's dealing with biology and shit, because how they talk about a man and shit, right? A man, they say a provider and protector, right? What is Jesus spoken about as but the ultimate provider and protector, right? A man that could set things right in the by and by. Shit that they ain't never dealt with. Right? They dealt with right here, right now on Earth. They got disappointed, but this is a dude who, goddamn, they will accept a non-exclusive relationship with. Okay? So they will share him. They ain't gonna share. They ain't gonna share us, right? Now, that's why I don't see it as a contradiction and shit. It's like it's feeding into their biology and shit of this ultimate provider and protector past when they fucking life extinguishes.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Yeah, it took me a while, but I'm with you. Yeah.
So
on a small
on
a small scale, every woman's looking for a provider, but she's not looking actually on a small scale provider. She's looking for someone to be her super dad, someone to keep her safe at all times, to keep her in fine linens and whatever at all times, and nothing can happen to her.
Exactly.
But
Exactly,
Not at all. That's
and they see that just like your mother. Your mother saw that before you were born. That the BAMs, I suspect that she was mostly around, right, could not provide that for her, and she didn't understand that shit. And as a female, she didn't have to understand that shit. Females ain't really got to understand shit. Okay, ain't you got to understand that shit. I have to understand shit.
yes.
Right? And so
they can live in a bubble. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. She clearly saw that, in contrast to what she was hearing about Jesus and what he will provide and what God will provide, these male figures, it ain't got nothing to do with these motherfuckers on earth.
Nothing.
Right? So she is wrapped up, just like my grandmother was wrapped up, my granny wrapped up. You know what I'm saying?
Full of super provider. Someone who's going to take care of all your, heal the sick. There'll be no more misery, no more outcry, no more pain.
Exactly.
Yeah. All of that they've brought in.
And this was something that, you know, from my vantage point, which I could be inaccurate, however I don't think I am, till somebody disproves me, that it was something feeding into their biology. You know, and they can't escape it. Because it's something that they yearn for biologically. Even if it's mythos. It don't matter that it's mythos. Because,
yeah. That doesn't matter.
Let your ass come and tell your mama Jesus ain't real. She probably slap your ass.
Yeah. She can't take that. But then I go, oh, you have. And then she'll start with the Bible, and I go, that is clearly not proof. Because if I write in a book, Jesus has never existed, that would also be proof.
Exactly.
And then we go nowhere.
But see, it's not validated because it's not a part of the culture. What you write down in the book as her son is not in the culture, so it's not valid. Okay. We have not created a culture that if we write our own books, it would be validated in their mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
So it's gonna cause conflict.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
With the status quo.
Exactly.
And then he's trying to rock the status quo. I'm trying to rock my mum's whole faith.
You feel me?
I'm trying to, I'm doing a personal attack on her. Yes.
Right. You just said it right. A personal attack, right?
Yep.
Even though you're talking about the doctrine, your personal. Okay, let me tell you this story, right? There was this BAM that I used to work with, right? And you know, a lot of people tell me shit for whatever reason. They feel comfortable, right? And so, he grew up in a very religious family. Specifically, his grandmother was very religious, right? And he said at some point he had questions about the Bible. I'm tying it to him being a male, right? Because it's hard for us to. It's hard for us to take the females who we love, blanketly accept this doctrine. Plus, it's a motherfucker who don't look like you, and if you do something to benefit them, they will give this motherfucker who don't look like us the credit. That's hard for us. It's very hard.
Yeah.
So we give a little pushback, right?
When I got prepared, I did well in the interview. Oh, Jesus gave you that job.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know, thank Jesus,
did I not
right?
Prepare.
Thank this white man. No. You didn't prepare. And if you did prepare, he gave you the ability to prepare, right?
So I take no credit for it. No, baby, because I prayed for you.
So you ain't
shit.
Stop
praying for me and pray for them. Yeah.
So we ain't shit. We can understand that predicated upon what we've been through, right? When motherfuckers tell you ain't no excuse for you. You're a so-called man. You know what I'm saying? You can't dwell in those fucking realms of thinking like a female or a child, motherfucker. Fuck you. Listen, this real life, bitch ass nigga, right? And we get that.
But you gotta level the playing field with. Even though you want me to be like a man and live in this man's society, I live only with women, and I was taught how to be a man by women.
Exactly.
They might have got it wrong. they might have got it wrong. So when they want me to be the protector, but I've got a 6 foot sister and a 6 foot mum, why would I be the protector? What is going on? Where's the example? Oh, well, your dad ain't shit. You mean he ain't protecting you lot?
That's it. He ain't protect me. He can't protect us. You know what I'm saying? And so but then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then all of the so live in a house of estrogen, and then if you're caught crying, it's a mad thing. But that's what we see on a day-to-day basis.
You feel me?
He's getting emotional, but they don't want us to do that. If we do that, where society says that you're gay,
because we're not like white men, or how white men are portrayed. Okay, even as little young males, from what you just said, big boys don't cry. Only girls cry.
There you go. But there's no big boys around me to test that theory. So that's just you chatting shit once again.
And if there are so-called big boys around me, you coddle me. You say, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
Don't be hitting him. So now you can't even get your ass kicked to sharpen your blades or your fist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you a straight pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they ain't got to think about that though, Ed. They ain't got to think about that though.
No, but then you'll get labeled because then it's two ways. So you're talking about my life. So it's two ways. If I go too far, I'm a madman. If I'm a coward.
If you don't go far enough, you ain't a real man.
Yeah, I'm a coward. No, I'm a coward.
You're a coward, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's a lion. That's a lion and it's hungry. You bitches better run. If I go and fight this lion one-on-one and it starts to beat me, I might run. That doesn't make me a coward. It makes you lot dinner.
Yeah, no, go kill it. Go kill it like the white man did on the TV shows that we saw. Go kill it. Right?
Yeah, go wrestle with it. Go wrestle with
that motherfucker. Go open his mouth and stick your fist in it and grab his fucking heart out.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Our situations are not fucking just far apart from each other. Okay?
Nah, yeah.
This is the thing. And so we
you're
pull away from that shit. Yeah.
Even though you're thousands of miles away, the same things are under your skin that are under my skin.
And you know why? Because it's the same position. See, I don't go with that color shit, right? Your position is the same as mine in this world, and it's called black. Okay? So we can relate.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, we got the same shit. Now let me go back to this story, right? So he asked these questions of his grandma who he told me, I love my grandma, you know what I'm saying? As soon as he asked one question, he say she slapped the shit out of his ass and said, "Don't you ever question God," and she disowned him. She never talked to him again, even when she died.
Yeah, because he did something so bad.
You know how motherfuckers say the white man, right? The only white man I know is fucking Jesus, right? He questioned the white man.
Yeah.
In her mind.
Yeah.
And he committed the ultimate sin.
Ultimate betrayal. The ultimate betrayal. Because if it wasn't for this white guy, Jesus, we'd all still be slaves and we'd all... No. Yes, I know. If it wasn't for this white guy, Jesus, we wouldn't be slaves.
See? She
slaves.
She don't have to know about that, though. She ain't got to know about that, though.
Yeah. You're so right. Because
that's on us. That's on us.
Women's slave.
Exactly. Motherfuckers know that, you know, in war, right? If we look at the literature and shit of different groups and shit, if you want to conquer a people, like back then, for the majority of the time,
Mm.
you got to go in and beat the hell or kill the motherfuckers were the most resistance, and that would be the fucking males who were in their prime,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Now we're in a modern time, right? They don't
Mm.
operate like that generally anymore. It's
Mm.
sufficient enough to come in and get your fucking Stargate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got our Stargate.
It's because you know this. It's not okay. So what? Usually coming in and giving. All right, who's your free strong? I got a gun that will take you all out. Bang, 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 bang. That's before. Now, if I enslave your mind, you'll enslave your child's mind, and it'll enslave its child's mind, and it'll enslave its child's mind, and the cycle will keep going. So I don't need to kill you anymore. That doesn't help me. I just need to enslave your mind, and you'll do my work
for me.
Talking about the grandma. I know you're talking about the grandma. She's the person on the plantation telling. And because she thinks that she's in a higher position, this God nonsense, she thinks she's got the right to.
See, these people, right? They understand, because I suspect, because some people might say it's biological, you know, some people say that, you know, we're different than other motherfuckers and shit, but I don't think we're that different, right? However, I do think that they've inculcated in us that the females specifically who we come from and who we're raised around, they are of paramount position. They are important to us. Okay, so that's why I don't buy into this whole, you know, some babs specifically
they could be about
here.
Shit though. They could be about shit.
And it don't even matter. There is no standard.
Isn't it about your character? Isn't it about, yeah.
I never said there's no standard. Okay, let me give you an example how there's no standard here from what I've seen, right? I might be inaccurate, but I'm gonna be anecdotal, right? I've had conversations with babs specifically that come from here, that come from the same stock as me, right, or similar stock, and motherfuckers will argue you down, right, about not talking, well, not separating clearly ain't shit baps from baps who are constructive, right? Even baps who are constructive will tell you, don't do this. However, at a certain, it's only if it benefits their argument, though, right? Because in certain points they'll tell you, don't compare me to that bitch. But in other arguments, when it benefits their argument, they'll tell you, don't be talking about them. You know what I'm saying? How could you say this about them, right? And so that's a quandary right there. And I say that it's up to us to have discernment. We can't listen to the females who we love like that. It's only certain things that we can listen to them about. But
okay, yeah, my brain just clocked on a different way to say it. Yeah, it's just because you love a female doesn't make her in high esteem. Doesn't mean that she's got anything of value.
Don't mean that she ain't a bitch. Don't mean that she ain't a bitch and that's gonna fucking destroy other fucking BAMs specifically, right? But it's not a contradiction though. It's kind of just like, you know, when a motherfucker say, you know, we want to do something nasty to somebody else's daughter, but we don't want nobody doing nothing nasty to our daughter. That's not a contradiction. That's natural. That's natural. Okay? It seems like a contradiction, and motherfuckers will say, that ain't fair. Motherfucker, life ain't fair. I don't trust you for even saying that shit.
Yeah.
Right? We want to do something nasty to somebody else's daughters, but we don't want them to do it to ours. And so I suspect that plays a part in why we would protect the females who we love, who's been around, no matter how they are. They've taken care of us and shit, even though they're bitches, right?
No, but
nasty bitches.
We're programmed that unconditional love is a good thing, which is their programming, which is not to question the status quo. So their program is not to question. So that's why this Jesus can just keep reoccurring every 200 years.
Yeah.
And we are gonna unconditionally love them. So we're gonna help it continue.
Yeah.
And
natural progression.
Yeah, and it worked. They did enslave our minds. It worked. They enslaved her mind, and she taught it to the kids.
They taught it to the people who they placed in charge, who they know if you place, the females in charge, they will be of paramount, right? Because you could even tell it in our cultural artifacts, which one thing would be our music, right? You can go from goddamn Dear Mama to goddamn the current shit with fucking Drake. She asked me if I love her. I only said partly. I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's who we are. It's a part of who we are. They did this to us, and because there ain't no such thing as no goddamn your daddy joke, okay? It'll make you mad. No such thing. Your daddy ain't
worst
shit.
It says your daddy not here, and then the response is neither's yours.
Like shit, neither's yours. I don't know that nigga. You don't know yours either. Okay, and
yeah.
Well, you say something about mama, and then grandma. Oh, we busting your head.
Fighting.
We on your head.
That's fighting. That's fighting.
Period. Hey, and I'm not gonna front that I've been taught that shit. I've been saturated in white domination, and that's in me. If you talk about my mama or my grandma, I'm diving on your ass. Even though I know the bullshit that my mother and my grandmother did. They have intrinsic value to me.
I've been through, but yet go to the ones that to the death I'm gonna protect.
It's in me.
Even though they weren't shit to me.
It's in me. That's why I don't, like let's switch the narrative, right? That's like when I was Afrocentric, I would hear motherfuckers saying shit like well, white men don't give a fuck about they women. Bullshit. Okay? They try to separate these motherfuckers and act like they are just totally different. That is bullshit. I say, and I might be incorrect until the motherfucker prove me wrong, it does not matter who sits in the seats of power. It matters the motherfuckers who can influence them. I say that wherever the fuck you are under white domination, white women run that bitch. Through the shadows, the Illuminati of white domination are white women. Now, a lot of motherfuckers think that just because these motherfuckers sit in the seats of power and they do all of the aggression and shit, that these motherfuckers are in control. I disagree. Because they have an affinity for their females just like any other group of fucking males. Okay? And they can be influenced. And if the women say,
no pussy unless you do this, we gonna be doing this.
Not even not just no pussy, not no validation.
Ooh.
It's not just pussy. Not even the validation. A motherfucking white woman could say, "You ain't no real man." Have you ever heard of the White Feather Brigade here in America? Let me tell you about let me tell you about this.
God, school me.
Let me tell you about this. Okay, so in one of the wars, I'm not specifically sure right now, but if you press me, I will give it to you at a later date. I'm not doing it now because it's late, right? However, they were called the White Feather Brigade, and it was a group of white women, right? That what they would do is during times of war, right, where their fucking white men had to go to war with whoever, they ain't got to know what it's all about or none of that shit. They just on board, motherfucker. You need to protect us, right? If you were found out to be a fucking coward, they would come and put a fucking white feather on your fucking doorstep, right? Which signifies that this is a bitch ass white nigga, right? Don't fuck with this nigga. Don't give him no pussy, no adoration, no nothing. I don't give a fuck if you his mama or nothing. If you do that shit, bitch, we on your head.
We you off. Yeah,
We on your head, bitch. Right? This served as a catalyst to keep these motherfuckers in line. To say, nigga, we don't give a fuck how you feel if you're a coward or anything. But guess what? Your ass ain't gonna have no life here. Past this war, you don't take your ass there to sacrifice your ass. You ain't gonna have no life here. Okay? Now you make your decision.
Okay, yeah. It is sacrifice yourself. It is for these women because they ain't going to war. So that's basically what it is. And if you're not willing to do that, you better get the fuck on.
You feel me? And so that's how they came up with that. You know, all of that shit. You know what? I'm flirting around with this concept, right? I'm still doing research on it, right? But I'm gonna share it with you right now, right? I suspect that it's highly possible that this new age Black Power movement, right? And the majority of motherfuckers who are in it are spawns of white feminism.
Oh, okay.
And what I mean by that is when you look at their arguments and how they pose their arguments.
Yeah, constructed them. It's the same argument.
It's striking similarities.
Oh, I wanted to. You was making a point before. Remember when you said that they were sophisticated?
Yeah.
And then they've got us thinking that there's something wrong with us.
Yeah.
Well, for me, because there's lots of books on it, but they studied animals, and they did their testing on animals, and then they did it on us.
Well, they did it on themselves first. Let's not forget that. They did it on people in their group and outside of their group first, and then they did it on animals. Then they did it on us.
So it's not sophistication. Or you study one thing, or for generations, you're gonna get good at it.
I mean, I consider that sophistication though, because you have to have a certain proclivity, predisposition to even want to do that. I'm not saying that we cannot be sophisticated. I'm saying that I'm postulating that unfortunately we have been bred to not be sophisticated, be more emotional, not be linear thinking, be fucking emotional thinking, more like females.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying we don't have the capability, but capabilities don't just come about. Okay. There's some shit this motherfucking implemented, and motherfuckers have to take control of the goddamn prizing and the goddamn recommendation of certain behaviors. And we don't have that worldwide right now. Unfortunately, that's where we at.
That's where we at.
That's where we are. So it's like, hey, you ain't got to accept it. It accepts you, motherfucker. It accepts you. Okay? Because I can guarantee you one thing, no matter if you're in England or here in America, I can guarantee you, baths, there or here, they understand that they don't need your ass.
Yep. They understand. They understand that you're a tool. So if they need you for financing, that's what they need you for. If they need you to give them a bit, that's what you're here for. But you're temporary. Someone else can do exactly what you do. So, we're giving unconditional love to these women around us, but how they treat men as commodities. And it don't matter. It don't matter what
I think that's intrinsically tied into what you just said, though, Ed. It's intrinsically tied into what you just said. They treat these men, right, like commodities, right? You just said it with what you said, but you may not have realized it because you look up something like linguistic relativity. You familiar with that?
Relate to each other.
It's a theory that It's a theory that the language that a group uses, um, it dictates their worldview, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So when you say man and you're in a Western society, it's in the context of white domination. And in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
context
yeah.
of white domination, white men are looked at as motherfucking tools by white women. Okay?
Yeah.
And the teachers of baths are white women. That's where they learn womanhood from. Okay? That's where
Mm.
we learn manhood from. Okay, these motherfuckers are our surrogate parents. Let me give you evidence of that, right? Um let's just call it stepchild syndrome, right? You know typical scenarios of stepchild syndrome where well you love them and you don't love me, right?
Mm-mm-mm.
But you my parent, but you love them more than you love me, right? How is that any different than colorism, where you have through the environment that white people have created
Mm.
and maintained, where motherfuckers say
I maintain.
you love them more than you love me, so I don't like them.
Yeah.
These people are our primary role models, but motherfuckers don't want to admit it. We rather feel good
Yeah.
than be good.
No, yeah. We chat shit about we don't have any role models.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
We chat that shit all day. Oh, there are no positive black role models. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. But that's because we're not in a black dominated society.
And they don't give a fuck. Specifically, the
So
BAPs.
why would they?
BAPs don't give a fuck about that. And I'm not
No.
saying that that's exclusive to BAPs either. I'm saying that I suspect this is a female thing biologically. Because when you talk
Yeah,
about a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
man, when you talk about a man socially in the context of European society or white domination, synonymous, right? There is no excuses for being a man. There's only excuses for a motherfucking female and
yeah.
children.
Weaker sex.
For
Off code, what you talking about, man?
you gotta pay attention and you'll catch on, right?
No.
There is no excuse in white domination if you're in a Western society for being a man. Either you do or you don't. Ain't no excuses, because I've witnessed this as well. When I brought my theories up front, you know what I'm saying? Some BAMs get goddamn leery of this shit and they get upset, you know what I'm saying? Because they want to be able to say, I'm a man, but white domination. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Ain't no excuses for a man. None. And if you want that excuse, understand, don't have a problem when any fucking BAPs come along and say, you're men like white men are. Man up!
Now look, let me tell you why what he said is true. Because if we're talking about is something possible or impossible, okay?
Mhm.
You being successful is not impossible.
Mm.
You may have more hoops and hurdles to go through than somebody that may be white. You may have to work a little harder, right? But at the end of the day, it's not impossible. The only way you will have an excuse is if it's impossible. Like, I have an excuse for why I can't fly. I don't have wings. It's impossible. But
Real.
in regards to being successful, it's not impossible. So there shouldn't be an excuse. You know,
Mm-mm.
you have excuses and then you have reasons. You know, there's no reason or excuse. It's just simply, hey, I tried and I failed. I mean, it's that simple.
But we we look down on failure like it's like it's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And because we look down on failure, the wanting to try kind of goes out the window because there's a chance you could fail. But without failure, you can't progress.
That's true.
Now, here's the thing. Now, I'm not, and I can say, watch this. It's not even contradictory for me to say there's absolutely no excuses, and there are extra obstacles.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
just because there's extra obstacles doesn't provide you a reason for providing an excuse. You know, I can acknowledge those things. I can acknowledge white supremacy and say, I still got to do my job.
You know what? I hear what you're saying, right, Alvin? I'll say this, right? That, you know, you said that there's no excuse for a motherfucker. You can be successful, right? I guess that's predicated upon how you define success individually, right? Because here's my thing right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the context of white domination, right?
Mm-hmm.
I suspect it's not possible for there to be such a thing as a black man if you don't have a network of black males, right? Just like other males have in other groups and shit. Because this is a societal thing. If we talk about individual successes, right?
Right.
Ultimately, the motherfucker who's doing the individual successes and shit, he will have to inculcate and perpetuate white domination to be successful. It's not a model that we created. It's not a model, and I suspect, even though I suspect BAPs don't think about that, because they don't have to think about that because they're females, right? They ain't got to think about that shit. You got to think about it, right? That they understand that. They understand that you still a fucking tool. However, I can benefit off you right now.
You know what? It actually goes back to what you just said. It depends on each individual on what they view as success. So if somebody's goal was to, hey, my goal in life is to get a house, get a wife, and raise some kids and have a decent job. If a person does that, in his experience, he thinks that's a success.
Yeah.
But there might be another person where it's like, no, I don't just want to get the house. I just don't want the wife. I just don't want it. I want to have all those things, plus my own business, plus this, plus that, and then for me, I'll be set. So I guess it varies from person to person.
Yeah, it's subjective.
Some people may be more ambitious than others, right? So, you know, so you got somebody like me. I ain't gonna lie, like I'm pretty simple. Like I'm the guy that, hey, I get a wife, I get children, I get the house. I'm pretty much good. But is that a success for somebody else? Somebody else could have that exact same life and feel like they're a failure, right? They'd be like, wait a minute.
Okay.
You know what I'm
saying? So your success isn't defined by you, it's defined by what went before you. So if before you, when 6 houses, you're going to be successful.
Exactly.
If before you went nothing, it's not impossible for you to be successful. It's not impossible. But because you don't have a successful teacher teaching you how to succeed, it's going to be very hard.
I think, you know what? I'll put it like this. I think you're a failure if you didn't meet the goals you made for yourself.
But see, you still saying for yourself, Alvin, right? Now, I understand where you're coming from, right? I understand where you're coming from. You saying for yourself, right? However, that goes into the concept that we got specifically from white people, right? That's probably been inculcated through the people who we love, right? Because they inculcated white domination, right? However, see, there is no such thing as individuality, like I told Robert earlier.
Yes.
And I'll prove it to you right now, right? I'll prove it to you right now, right? I'm talking English. You're talking English. You can understand me, and I can understand you. You're not a fucking individual. I'm not an individual. It's all fucking predicated upon the social norm, and the social norm right now for us is white domination. Your success will be defined by it. It will be dictated by it, by you and me subscribing totally to what they do to get that house, because there are rules.
Exactly, and I was just about to say that, because
to get that house.
What I actually described is the white domination model. I said, get married, have children, get a house, and a decent paying job. They got a word for something like that. You know what they call that? They call that the American dream.
There it is. There it is.
You know what I'm saying? They call that the American dream. And I think what it is capitalism. Because you notice I kept saying myself.
Yep.
Personal, subjective. That's like, it's not a hive mentality. It's, I will be successful. It doesn't matter if anybody else around me is successful. As long as I meet these goals, it's a success.
Exactly.
As opposed to in other more ancient cultures, it was more of a hive mentality. It's like the whole tribe has to be good.
Familiar.
For everybody to be right.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
You remember what I was saying that earlier, Rob? And let me give you another example to add on to what you were saying, right, Alvin? At some point, the people who we came from, specifically here, right? There was a point in this country that a little white boy, right, could boss around what I would call a BAM, right?
Right.
It's not because he had individual power. It was because he had a fucking culture of white people that backed it up, that said, this is acceptable. Motherfucker, you get down or lay down, no matter if your ass is grown or not. You goddamn nigga.
Hive mentality. A hive mentality.
Exactly.
The collective organism. Exactly. We don't have that at all.
Exactly.
No, we're consumers.
Right. There we go.
We're consumers, and we're not collectively trying to buy the Super Bowl arena. We're just trying to buy a seat. Each person's just trying to buy a seat.
Now, see, and this here's a perfect example of this. You know, Native Americans, they tried to make them slaves. It didn't work because they still had all of their culture and stuff. They're on their land. They still had the hive. You know, when we came over here, we were broken up, split up, different families, different tribes, all mashed up together. So not all those Africans were even speaking the same language.
I don't know, Alvin. I don't know if I can agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Just predicated upon the information that I got from white people, right? And some so-called Native American groups, whether it be here in America or in specifically like Canada, right? They did enslave these motherfuckers for the most part. They did. They broke their fucking culture
good
up.
Slaves though.
They eventually they got their ass. Because when the last time you seen a fucking Native American, Alvin?
See, okay. Now that goes to your point. They made bad, but they was able to wipe them out in another way. So it was basically, it's get down and lay down, right? So they tried to make them slaves. That wasn't working. So they started using another thing. And you're right. I don't see Native Americans anywhere. The only places I see Native Americans is if I go up into Arizona or Iowa or these weird places like that. But in any inner city area, you don't see any of them.
No.
You know, and there were millions of them, like millions upon millions of them.
Yeah.
Listen, I saw one like a year ago, right? Wait a minute. I saw a family of them, right? It was like 4 of them. And because I never seen them in real life before, I was confused. I had to go ask this motherfucker, are you Native American?
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Now, here's the funny thing. My friend, my father's friend married a Native American, and we used to go visit her reservation in New Mexico. Man, when I went down there in New Mexico and we visited her reservation, I was talking to the natives. Bro, you think black people are militant towards white people? Bro, there is not anybody on the planet that hates white people more than Native Americans. Bro, I was talking to him, he was like, listen, y'all black folks, y'all actually be friends with them. We can't be friends with them. They took our land. Like, we can't do that. Like, he said, I will not even let a white person in my house. Like, Native Americans hate white people, bro.
Some of them.
But what, you got to throw that some in there. You most definitely do. Because, again, some of them, you give them a casino or two, they all good.
5 civilized tribes, can't forget about them, right?
Yeah, that's true. I guess at the grassroots level, just like not all black people hate white people, but when you match the militant white devil black person versus the Native American that hate the Native American,
no contest,
bro,
no contest.
They ready to scout.
No contest.
They ready to scout.
I mean, you know what though, and I've been working on something that I might try it out now. I'll give a glimpse of it here. I'm working on something called the Black Demagogue series, right? And what this is talking about is that we have a few demagogues. Y'all know what I mean by demagogues, right?
Yeah, like
no.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, demagogues are pretty much people who get the ear of the people by pulling on their heartstrings about things that they have been taught or they feel are important to them.
Yeah,
right?
Demagoguery,
right? We have that right now, right? And it's been around, right? And I'm not talking shit about them because I don't think that's constructive to talk shit about another slave, because that fucking demagogue is a slave too. Okay. If I deal with the motherfuckers because that motherfucker is in my goddamn area and the motherfucker's doing harm to me, other than that, I ain't got nothing to say about you. I'm not calling you coon. We have this shit specifically in our so-called conscious community. That's demagoguery to the goddamn 10th degree. Okay?
That's exactly what it is.
Because why do I say that? Because because most of them, not unlike myself when I was a part of it, right? We talked about nation building, right? However, we have groups like the Israelites, groups like Kemetic, Moors, all that kind of shit. However, tell me the statistically relevant group mass that we can identify, because we can identify those groups, right? Of, okay, this is the group where we teach motherfuckers about goddamn sophisticated water systems. In this group, we teach motherfuckers about goddamn this and that, about soft and hard infrastructure building. You're playing a game. It's not real. Okay, I'm not saying that some of them don't have good intentions, but just like white people saying they shit, you know what I'm saying? Good intentions lead to the road to motherfucking hell, right?
Oh my goodness! So
it's not popping.
You just sparked a question, and I've been meaning to ask you this, because this is like your specialty, right? Was Killmonger right?
Sorry. Can you do a little bit of background?
Oh, that's a Black Panther movie.
Black. Because I think Killmonger had the right idea, poor execution. Right? You can't just randomly just toss what you ain't got no plan other than just to. But I get the intent, but it wasn't the right way to do about it. What's your take on that?
Let me qualify it first before I talk about it, right? I did not see the movie, right? And I don't plan on seeing the movie. However, I've heard loads of so-called black people talk about the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got the same gist of what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I would like to say is that Resh pulled out something and he called it Afrofuturism, right?
Jeez.
And that's what the fuck that is to me in and of itself. I don't give a fuck about Killmonger, about the fucking story and none of that kind of shit. We have fucking so-called black people around this motherfucker talking about, oh, it was a great thing, as if this shit is a goddamn catalyst to motherfucking young black males.
You know what? It's a 2-hour hypothetical.
I can't even say it's a hypothetical though, from what I heard, right? Because
basically, it's a 2-hour hypothetical about, hey, if black people had these capabilities, what would be the right thing to do? That's the hypothetical. We're gonna make a story with a scenario of what if. That's the hypothetical element. So if black people had access to this technology, what would be the right thing to do with it?
I hear what you're saying, right? It's laughable to me though. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not even on that path to any statistically relevant. That's why I don't talk about exceptions. Okay, I could talk to the exceptions.
Talk about rules. You talk about rules.
Exactly. I could talk to the exceptions and be like, I commend you for what you're attempting to do, because I would be part of the exception. I don't expect motherfuckers to talk about what the fuck I'm attempting to do and be like, yeah, black people are motherfucking waking up. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking asinine, right?
Now, here's what is interesting though. Even though it's a movie, and a movie by any standard is not something one would deem as revolutionary, but it does have capabilities to do things to the psyche of black people.
You know what?
Okay.
I thought about that. Right? And I would say
Mhm.
this. If any cinema thing that was released had the capabilities, the statistically relevant capabilities of shifting the mental capacity of motherfuckers, it would be The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Right?
But it didn't give you the bells and whistles though. Like The Spook, that movie was a good movie.
It did, because okay, how about
It's
this?
for people like us that like that movie.
Whoa. No. Not people like us. I'm talking about it related to us way more than a fucking make-believe Wakanda.
No, but see, what I'm talking about is the Wakanda, like Spook Who Sat by the Door is your fruits and vegetables. You need, that's the healthy. Wakanda gives you the chocolate cake.
Afrofuturism.
It gives you the fantasy, whereas, you know, it's more tasty.
It's fucking bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. I saw a fucking video on Facebook, right? And it was this Bath arguing that, you know, look at what it did. It had the little babies going up saying, I want to be Killmonger. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, they want superpowers.
Look,
they don't want no motherfucking STEM.
Let me tell you why. See, I think, and I agree with you. I think people exaggerated it a bit as far as its effects. But I will say this though, and here's the most important thing: white people realized putting black faces in movies makes more money. So because of this, I am going to expect more black superhero movies because white people like making money. So when you start,
when you say that, that's because I get to thinking about Nelly Fuller, right? And you're talking about white supremacy is big business, and black supremacy, you know, whatever that is, so-called of it, is small business. So what you're saying is now with everything that's going on in this society that we live in or whatever, white supremacy is using that as a tool to also gain revenue.
most definitely white supremacy gonna use that as a tool, but it may have backfiring effects on them though.
I don't see
How would that have back? What the? Come on now.
Because what's going to happen is, if black people get used to seeing movies where black people are game bangers and drug dealers in all the movies, that's going to affect the collective psyche. But then now, if the majority of black movies are like superhero movies, and you see that could have some kind of an effect on the collective.
Yeah, but not
it could have a minimal effect.
I heard that T'Challa was a bitch.
See, nah, look, this is what it is. Okay.
Hey, hold on, wait a minute. I want you to tell me whether that's true or not.
No, it's not true.
It's not true that he was a fucking bitch that got coached
it's definitely
by Baps.
Not true.
That got coached by Baps.
No, it's definitely. Let me tell you why.
Manipulated. Ooh. Now, hold the fuck on. Now, hold on, Alvin. Now, I hate to bring your walking path. According to those laws over there, is any males getting whispered in the ears by a whole group of baths?
What, in the movie?
No, I'm talking about over there in the camps.
Israelite.
Oh, in the camps, what are they saying?
Oh, come on now, Alvin. Now you gonna play.
I'm not in no camp. I'm not in a camp.
According to his Israelites, Hebrews, the structure, the laws, the way shit is set up, ain't no motherfucking BAMs over there getting led by no motherfucking groups or whispered in his ear by no motherfucking groups of BAFs at all.
Whispering about
nowhere. We talking about comparison with the Black Panther movie with the little army of BAFs.
Oh, the army of the females, right?
And the other females that's basically guiding him.
We have that. We have Deborah ordered the king of the Canaanites to get killed. We have female judges, and she ordered the military to kill the Canaanite king. And matter of fact, a woman ended up killing him.
So you saying you got groups of females that's telling all those other alphabet camps they running those males?
Yes, we have female judges. So I don't know how.
So you saying there's females that's running those groups of Israelites?
I'm talking about the Bible Israel. As far as what they do in the camps, like I wasn't
talking about that. Okay, I wasn't in that perspective. I'm talking about right now with these different.
No, they're not doing that. They're not doing that.
Do you think that would be constructive in the context in which we have been bred? Do you think that's constructive?
Having female military?
Generally speaking, having the BAPs who we love, because we all love, all of them, right? But we don't all love them all, right? Do you think that would be constructive for us to engage in that type of behavior? Currently.
No, I mean, if you have, I don't think it would be good to just exclusively make female soldiers. Okay, I don't think that would be right. But if you had a criteria for a soldier,
physicality, that's not what Resh said though, Alvin. He was
I don't think that's what I don't think that'll be good.
Hold on, he was not having female armies. He was specifically talking about how it was characterized in that movie where he had a small battalion of BAPs who influenced him.
Well, he only took advice from his sister and this other girl, but it wasn't like, I mean, he's still in charge, but they would like advise him.
And
like,
he didn't want that shit, right? From what I understand.
Why would I have a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that.
No. I'm saying he didn't want that. He wanted something else, but they were influential in his processes, right?
No. That's not true. No.
He didn't want that in the movie?
No. I'm talking about in the movie, what they were telling him to do and what he wanted to do wasn't contradictory. It wasn't like he really wanted to do something and then they were like, no, T'Challa, you can't do that. He was like, okay, like that wasn't going on in the movie.
They didn't tell him no.
Nah.
He didn't have one set of ideals for his own life individually.
Yeah, they were all his ideas.
Wait a minute. Wait a
minute.
Let me finish it. So you're saying that he didn't have one set of ideals that he inculcated that he felt would be more conducive for his life personally, and then they came in and was like, well, nah,
No, that didn't happen. That what you just described, that didn't happen in the movie.
What happened in the movie?
What happened in the movie? He's the king of Wakanda, okay, and he's calling all the shots, and then he'll ask his sister for advice on something, or he'll ask the other girl for advice, and they'll tell him what's up. But overall, he's running the show.
Okay, I got that right.
Overall, he ain't asking no Bam shit though, huh?
He asked the people who were closest to him. His sister was closest to him, and that other general girl was closest to him, and his girl was close. Those were the three people closest to him.
I get that. So let me ask you this, right? With that in perspective that you just laid out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Currently, generally speaking, under white domination, and because your ass been in this shit for as long as me, goddamn it, right? Do you think that would be constructive for us to do that, generally speaking?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. If somebody that you're close to is wise, and there's a particular thing that you need guidance on, if you ask somebody for advice, I don't see an issue there.
Well, I'm talking about generally speaking, because somebody is wise.
Yeah, generally speaking, if somebody is around you that you're close to, and if they have some kind of wisdom or they're smart, and there's some advice you want, I mean that's what we do. We do that already.
Yeah, we do that already, right? And
right.
and looking where it's gotten us, right? Because here's my thing right here, right? Because of our history here, right? And because of the sophistication of the white people then and now, right? The females who we love, generally speaking, they facilitate, just like any other female, biologically, they facilitate white domination. And
matter of fact, watch this though. Very important. The females in the movie wanted him to kill Killmonger. There was like, man, he's a traitor, but he was like, no, I don't want to give the movie away to you, but no, he's our responsibility. If I can save him, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, see, I can see that because that goes with a concept that I had that I've been trotting out, or I ain't trotted out yet, but I'm gonna break it down. You know what I'm saying? I say,
he even checked his mom in the movie too, by the way.
Let me ask you this, Alvin. Right? Under how we are right now, right? Do you think that Bam on Bam violence is subsidized?
What profitative? What you mean by subsidized?
What I mean by subsidized in the context that I'm using it, because it's not necessarily monetarily, right? However, it can be monetarily. The violence that we do amongst each other and shit, and that we're taught to do amongst each other, it could get us pussy, adoration,
right, okay,
all that kind of shit. Do you think that Bam on Bam violence is highly subsidized amongst us?
Yeah, meaning you can, like, if I'm a gangster or something, that may be appealing to some women, or socially,
whether females that are not a part of our blood lineage or are
right. Yeah, I mean you can profit off being ignorant. Yes, you can.
Okay, so do you think that is constructive in the context of a social environment where we fuck with each other?
No, I don't think it's productive to simply glorify somebody who's a gangster, who's killing other black people, and to have that glorified somehow. I don't think that's constructive.
And so that's what I'm talking about right there. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like this is being perpetuated amongst us. However, it's something that we haven't talked about. I try to frame what the fuck I'm saying in a way that either you're going to answer the question or you're going to hang yourself. Right? I
Right,
attempt to
right,
do that because I got caught up way back in the day a long time. Right? So
right.
this is not constructive. I say that under this current environment, this new age, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there are no networks, if I can't relate to Alvin specifically, Resh, Robert, right? If I can't relate to you, then there's no hope because it's not predicated upon the females to do anything. Because you could get that in the conversations that we have that we're talking about our relationships to white domination. At the end of all of those conversations, it's about what BAMs are not doing.
Right.
Right? And so if I can't see the importance of you, if the goddamn narrative is not switched from me trying to court a bath into courting you, then we lost.
Yeah. I mean, and I think if you saw the movie, I mean, some people portrayed him as that, but maybe if you saw, I didn't see it like that in the movie because all of the BAMs in that were BAMs in every sense of the word, right? It wasn't like and I know what you're talking about. You have these movies where the guys are made to look stupid and they need the guidance of the wise woman who can actually think. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like in that Star Wars movie, right? So that last Star Wars movie, that's dealing with white people, but still it had that narrative of, hey, the males are meatheads and they need to go get guidance from the woman to really know. So, okay, that wasn't happening in the Black Panther movie, right? And it happens in other movies, but in the Black Panther movies, all the men in there were pretty much running the show. You had the female warriors that was whooping people's ass and stuff, right? But even when T'Challa lost to the guy, the girl was like, "Hey, come with T'Challa." No, she was like, "Listen, I'm loyal to the throne. Even though I don't like the dude in power, I have to be loyal to him because that's what I was sworn in." You know what I'm saying?
So it's kind of like religion, in the sense
it was religious. She was like, "Look, T'Challa was my guy. I hate the dude that beat him up, but I didn't make a vow to T'Challa. I made a vow to the throne. So he's on the throne right now. So I got to be loyal to him. That's how this works." So the guys, it definitely was patriarchal. It was a patriarchal situation.
I can see it being a patriarchal situation, being that how white people formulated Wakanda in their minds, right? However, that is not reality.
It's not reality.
And
I think I'll agree with you. I think what happened was you had people taking it too extreme.
A lot of people, you know it, Alvin.
Yeah, they was taking it too far. See, okay, like me, for instance.
Right.
As a guy that loves movies, I was excited to see the first futuristic, all-black cast, black superhero movie. And that's about where it ended for me as far as excitement. I'm like, I haven't seen it before. I'm a guy that likes movies. I'm excited to see a movie like that.
So you're an exception.
But then when people say, this is the defining moment of the black race. This is the key to our liberation.
Didn't some of us say that
this is going to wake up us as a nation? See, when people then take it to that part, then I'm off that ship.
That's the majority, though, right? That's the majority, right? From what you've seen,
I don't
right?
know if it's the. It looks like that's the majority.
I suspect from what I saw, it's the fucking majority, right? Do you suspect that it was the majority? Yes or no?
It appears to be that may have been the majority.
Okay, now at that point, I have to deviate from this shit. I have to go off code on that shit. Okay?
I told you, listen, once they took it there, I jumped off the train. Okay, I jumped off that train. I'm like, look, I'm happy to see the movie. It was a great movie. I was entertained. I like seeing black faces on screen. That's cool. I never seen it like that before. But that's where it needs to end. We can look at the metaphors. We can break down the movie just like any other movie. We can look at the themes and talk about them. But don't try to make this movie the thing, the wool that was over our eyes that it removed, and now black people are awake. No, we can't take it to that extreme.
But you knew that's where it was going, Alvin. You knew that, and then you know how I know you knew that? Because you saw the goddamn debacle that was goddamn The Birth of a Nation. You saw it.
Oh yes.
You knew that that's where it was going. But I want to get Robert involved in this conversation. Go ahead, Rob.
No, okay, so I haven't watched the Star Wars. I haven't watched the Black Panther, but when I was younger, I would read the comics. I was big into Spider-Man comics and Marvel comics.
Yeah.
The whole Wakanda film. Okay, so let me tell you. The Black Panther's not actually a Marvel character. He is and he's not, because he's isolated in his own little world and he doesn't boop with anybody else, really and truly. Even if you read his comic, it's invaders come and they fuck up the invaders, and then if it's the good guy invaders, after they fucked him up, they ask him what do they want, and then he goes and he backs it, but ultimately he comes back to his people and his isolation. That's what comics have.
Now you know in the comics he marries Storm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. He marries her.
By the way, which most of us who lord this shit, who you were talking about, right? Who we were talking about, they don't know a goddamn thing about what motherfucking Marvel comics. Let's put that out there.
You ain't never lied. Hey, look. Look, here's and you know what, Off Code, I understand your frustration, right? Because we already have romanticists. That movie definitely threw gasoline on the fire.
Ooh.
Look, so
goddamn. I mean, goddamn, boy, that motherfucker was going ham.
We already got romantic. So now you do got people, man, in ancient Kemet, we actually had that kind of technology. So now
he said in ancient Kemet, we had that technology.
In ancient Kemet, we had that technology.
Oh shit, he done brought ancient Kemet.
Bro, Wakanda can turn real fast.
No. See, that's what I'm talking about. You see what Alvin talking about, Rob? He on some bullshit. He's talking about this shit can turn real fast. Hell no. Motherfuckers acting like goddamn God put goddamn STEM science in motherfucking babies' minds. No.
I'm talking about the real Kemet. I mean but see, now this is the minority. But there are some groups that was talking like, yo, in ancient Kemet, they had that technology and they lost it when they let the other people come in. But they was doing all of that. Wakanda really ancient Kemet. Like, there's people out there doing that.
That's true.
But that's ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous. But you just said the same thing.
Actually, but you know what? Let me tell you why it's so sad. This is why it's so sad. You know, the Africans that are actually in Africa wasn't that hype about the movie than African Americans. I mean, they were hype about it. They went and seen it, but you know, it was cool, but it didn't have the level of hysteria of Africa. You know why? Because African Americans, we're just all over. There's no unified thing. So we can unify under this fictional character, the black people. We can unify under that.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? It's something where, you know, because we're fictional. Man, you seen this movie, Space is the Place, with Sonny Ray. Have you seen that?
What's it called?
It's on YouTube. Space is the Place with Sonny Ray, right? He said, black people are a myth. You have culture, you have no identity, you don't exist. You're a myth. And he's talking about African Americans. Right. So you have a mythical character for mythical people. So hey, you have no culture or identity. Marvel Comics will make you one.
You know what? You know what? I can't. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can't wholeheartedly disagree with that, though. That stance, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Hold on. He laughing. Let me tell you why, right? Because what is our so-called culture perpetuated upon? Is it something? Because typically, males in a culture create culture, and the females perpetuate it, right? Is that true from your understanding?
Yeah, off code. Yeah. You know how you make a lot of people mad?
Yeah.
I make a lot of people mad when I say this, but it's just an objective truth. African Americans are culturally European.
That's what I said. We motherfucking goddamn retard versions of white people.
Listen, we have a small percentage of things that we brought over here from, but we go to baseball games. We go to basketball games with an arena. That's your going to plays and movies. That's Greece.
We like V-neck t-shirts. What the fuck
you see what I'm saying? We are we are culturally European, and I know that makes some people mad. But look at the language I'm speaking to you.
Yes,
exactly. You're speaking to me in English. You know, Leola says America is our culture, right?
So we're culture. Listen, I know that makes people mad, but you have to know that if you want to make things better, you got to deal with what the reality is. We can't sit up here and be like we're African this, African that. Listen, we're genetically traced back to Africa. Right. But if you're born and raised in a European society, you are culturally European.
You're European.
We're something different. You know what I'm saying? And that's why that's one of the reasons why I kind of separated from my let's say pro-black roots and all of that kind of shit, right? Because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, God damn it, which do you identify with? Because I've asked. Hold on. I've asked some of our so-called high-level pro-blacks, right? Which one do you identify with more? So-called African culture or European culture? And you know what they said.
Oh man, I know they was mad at you. I'm mad at me because I know they probably exploded when you said what you was.
They ain't explode. They just answered it, and it was like, you know, they moved on to something else. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Was the answer a lie though? Was it African? Because it's a lie.
See,
it was European.
Let me tell you something. History. Okay, and I know you're gonna hate this, right? I promise you go, but then you're gonna love it when I'm done.
Let's see.
When you look at the Israelites, okay? So look, when Egypt ruled Canaan, Israelites were doing Egyptian things. When the Assyrians took it over, they started dressing like Assyrians. When the Persians took it over, now they're Persians. When the Greeks took it over, now you see Israelites wearing togas and speaking Greek. You're going to adopt the culture that's running the show.
Right.
This is what's happened throughout history. It's not changed.
Right.
The Western Euro culture is running the show.
Exactly.
So you see my picture? I got a polo shirt on. A black person didn't make this shirt.
No. You're right though. I'm with you. Go ahead. I'm listening.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got to deal with the reality. Now that doesn't mean we can't fight back in some ways.
Like what?
Or try to remedy issues on a smaller level.
Like
right?
what? Give us examples.
We're going to go back to the Black Panther movie.
Okay.
Now, when you go back to the Black Panther movie, there's two different strategies used. Killmonger wanted to give black people in America weapons in order to take over white people. T'Challa wanted to give black people education. So you have one guy open up a school in America, teaching them the technology and science of Wakanda, and the other guy just wanted to give the weapons.
So, hey, hold on. Let me say this right quick before you continue, Alvin. Right? We have what I call a Bath. However, she calls herself a Texan. Right? Her name is Leola. It's my famo. Right? She said, make things better. No, she's typing to me. Make things better, right? And then I said, how do we do that, Leola? She says, American born. American born here. You are American, period. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's an objective truth. I have an American Social Security card.
Can I interrupt? Because I'm not from America.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Robert, you're not from here, so it's different for you.
Recently, it's on my Facebook. I've seen it before. It's a documentary, Channel 4. It's a black African-looking guy, but he's got a good English accent, and he goes to America to interview these, the white racist people, because they say that basically they got Trump in power and they're the underpinning why so many people voted for him. So he goes to interview the white people, and the white people are just being racist. It's normal racist. Like they were saying, slavery did good for you black people because look at you now and look at where you come from, blah, 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 blah. But the white guy goes to him, you'll never be an Englishman. That's the white guy saying this to him, and he's like, huh? Of course I'll be an Englishman. I am an Englishman. The white guy is so right. You African American people will never be American people. Neither will the white people ever be American people. It's a nation built on raping and stealing from.
Well, I think there's two elements to that though. I think, will we ever be accepted as equal to the other people living with us here? I think is one conversation.
Okay.
But then you have
no. That's a no.
Yeah, that's a no. But then you have the other conversation is, I am nationally an American citizen.
Right.
You know? Okay. I have an American Social Security card. I have an American ID. You know what I'm saying? I went through the American school system. You know? I am objectively American. Now, that doesn't mean I can like it. Okay.
I'm shaking.
Hey, hold on. Let me interject what Leola said again. She says, take color out of the conversation.
See, you can't do that. The moment white people take it out the conversation, I'll take it out the conversation. When they take it out, I'll take it.
They'll never take it out.
That's what I'm saying. You
Trying to
can't
stay on
see.
top.
Now
I was with her.
Hey. She said, yes, you can.
How? Look, okay. And I'm gonna tell you why we can't take it out of the conversation.
Hold on. Matter of fact,
Until-
let me
watch
see.
this.
Let me see. Oh, go ahead.
Let me tell you. I'll take it out.
She take it out. She said she take it out.
No. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you how. This is what's going to happen. Okay.
Huh?
If the moment police look at me walking down the street at 1 o'clock in the morning, the same way they would a white boy with a sweater vest,
Yeah.
that's when I will be like, okay, no need. And you know what? You know what? Off code, it's even worse than that.
This free conference call is provided by Uber Conference. You are the first participant on the
I'm
call.
gonna
Please
try
hold
to
while
see
we
if
wait
she
for the others to
will
join.
come into the conversation. Go ahead, Alvin.
Yeah. So off code, watch this, man.
Yeah.
People don't understand when we talk about the white man system or the Euro system.
Right.
It's not about just racist white people.
Right.
Okay, it's like, watch this. Forget about a white person. Let's take a black cop. Okay, a black cop is going to be more on edge driving past a group of young black men with hoodies than he would a group of white boys with hoodies. And that's a black cop. He is going to treat those young black men differently.
Because you will never be Americans because you're not Native American. But identifying
I see what you did there.
Identifying with the Black American, Afro American, whatever you want to identify.
We're not indigenous Americans.
Because you can't be. Gives what is the word? Gives acceptance to the fact that this nation is built on raping the Native American guy. If you lot are not African and you're American, then you're part of the system that is in place to keep the Native American guy off his land. So you can't be mad that they brought you from your keeping the Native American from his thing, if that makes any sense. And so that makes you part of the problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So we're not indigenous Americans, right?
No.
Right.
So you can't be American.
But then again, I am. See, it gets tricky because if you're born here, I would be indigenous to America, right?
No, I see what you
mean. My
mean.
ancestors wouldn't be.
No, I see what you mean, but no, you're still not. You're still not because
like my ancestors wouldn't be.
If you was born in prison, it doesn't make you a criminal. If you was born in America, it doesn't make you American. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
okay, I get what you're saying.
Is only specific to the actual people.
So then, if we go that route, then a white person isn't American.
No, hell no.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like how white people aren't African,
or whatever. But see, now here's where it gets even more tricky. We got to throw the name America out the door.
Yeah.
Because the natives weren't even called. So no. Man, you know what? It is a little. It gets a little tricky. It gets a little tricky because, America is a nation founded by white people. Right, so they can call themselves American. You know, they took somebody's land and named it, right? But the government is their government. So, but yeah, it's messed up.
Well, for me, any form of African American is playing into the system.
Yeah.
That basically says genocide of the actual American is a good thing.
This call is being recorded.
Is a good thing. And all this Thanksgiving and all of that. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Thanksgiving is the day that the Native Americans scalp as many people as possible.
Hey, Robert and Alvin, We have Leola on the line. Leola, are you there?
Yes, I am.
This is Leola.
Okay.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
Good morning, family.
Yeah, I think she had issues with what you were saying, Alvin. So
About the color?
yes, let me go back. Let me go back so I can be sure where she started at, right? Because we were talking and she said, let's see, we were talking and she said, American is our culture. That's one thing she said. Then she said,
I agree with that.
make things better. And then she said, I said, how do we do that, Leola? And she said, America, born here, you are an American, period.
I agree with that.
I said, thank you for your comments. We appreciate you. She said, take color out of the conversation. And you said, what?
I don't agree with that. and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I can objectively disagree with that. Because when I fill out an application for a job or anything, they got a little section that says, are you Caucasian, Pacific Islander, Black, or Latin American? As long as that little section exists in American society, color is always going to be in the equation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's there.
Your
now, once
thoughts?
they take that off, when I apply for an ID or whatever, when they take that off, then I'm like, oh, okay, we can throw it away. But white people still put that when you register for a school, a job, or a state ID.
Mm-hmm.
So you agree, right? You agree?
No, I mean, I'm agreeing. Wait, there's this whole reverb thing. But no, I'm saying I agree with you.
Okay,
but
there we go.
At the same time, it's going about what do you want for your children? What do you want them to see themselves as? And I say take color out of the equation, and you're just an American woman. The moment that you start putting adjectives in front of American, at that point you realize I'm losing what makes me an American.
So why do you think? Why does the government put adjectives in front of our names when we apply for state IDs and stuff?
Well, why do you have to check race on there?
They put it on there. Why does that section exist?
They put it on there, but I never in the 6 years with my girls, never ever put race. I always put other.
Yeah, but I'm saying, why does that section exist? If color, you know what I'm saying, it's like
because there's a hierarchy of person in America.
Right. I'm like,
hierarchy.
The only reason we use adjectives is because the government use adjectives, and then they take census. They take census on that. Like, how many African Americans live in this city? They poll these things. So the government thinks that it matters. Now, the moment the government thinks it's irrelevant of how many people at a job are this color or that color, how many people living over here is this color, that color, or whatever, when they deem that irrelevant, I'll deem it irrelevant. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, Leola.
Yeah, well, you say that. But I do think at some point there has to be a grassroots movement where you say, you know what, I'm not going to just be seen as my race and my culture and my ethnicity being the same thing culturally.
I'll say this: there was once upon a time where there wasn't any races, right? There wasn't a black person, a white person back in the ancient past. I mean, there was bigotry, but there would be bigotry towards you being a nationality. So if you were a Greek, it wasn't because you're white. I just don't like you because you're a Greek, and I'm bigoted towards Greeks. But it wouldn't happen to be your skin color or nothing, right? But now, in this era, whether we like it or not, ethnicity and race is a thing. I wish it wasn't. Everybody wish it wasn't. But it's a thing. So now we can pretend that it's not there, or try to work around it to fix some issues with it.
So how about this? How about this, Leola? Do you think that it would be constructive for us to ignore the fact that it is there? Do you think that would be constructive?
Yes. It would be constructive for you to acknowledge it's there. Because I don't acknowledge it's there. To me, it's a non-issue. It's moot.
Okay, now if you don't mind me asking, are you, what ethnicity are you?
I'm an American.
She's an American. I told you. You don't want to listen.
Would I be incorrect in assuming you're Caucasian?
No.
Because I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, from the perspective of somebody that is Caucasian, this wouldn't matter. Why would it matter to a Caucasian that wouldn't suffer from the same things based on skin color? So when you have a Caucasian, they're like, hey, I love everybody. I don't hate nobody. Why is everybody stuck on race? And that's fair, because from your perspective, it's like, hey, I'm not really, nothing's happening to me because of how I looked, right? Nobody's doing anything to me. So race doesn't matter to me. But when you are people where race has mattered for a large portion of your history, and it's still on a smaller level affects certain things today, race is going to be a little bit more important to the people that's been oppressed by it.
What say you, Leola?
I will go back to the adjectives in front of an American, because it's taking away what makes you American, one.
Right.
Also, what matters is what do you see yourself as? That's the biggest thing that I've struggled with, because people will say, "Oh, you're not black," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't talk like that. I'm a human. My body doesn't change clothes. I can't rip off my skin to say, oh, like I can see that I'm a human being."
Listen,
hold on, Alvin. Hold on. Let her go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm gonna make it brief. I'm sorry. I have long stories. I'm gonna try and make it.
No, go ahead. Take your time.
Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Don't say that. Don't say that, because she will take her time. Go ahead, Leola.
Okay. No, the whole thing I'm saying is that we have the ability to have this new generation coming up to just fight to where no one talks about race. Isn't a non-issue. Race is an issue for people who are older. Like I would say, when you be about 19, 20, when you can start you're acting adult, then things change. And I'll give you the example of my grandmother. She passed away when I was about 10. And I was telling her, I was telling my mom, I was like, yeah, my first year of voting. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going for George Bush. And she said, what? She's like, no child of mine is going to vote for a Republican. And it's from generations and generations have said, okay, that's what black people have to vote for Democrats. So
let's review, Leola. Let's review. So what Alvin was talking about with acknowledging the existence of so-called color being in every facet of this society, you equate that to your mother saying that you will not vote Republican?
Giving you an example.
Okay.
What? Okay, so
Let me
Yeah,
ask a
go ahead,
question.
Robert. Go ahead,
Go,
Robert.
go ahead,
Yeah,
Rob.
go ahead.
Do you think that all American people are equal?
Are y'all talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh.
Lee, that was to you.
Yeah, do you think
believe
all
that
American people are
people are
treated
equal?
equal? How about that? Treated equal.
All right, yeah.
Treated
Fair
okay. Not all Americans are treated equally.
As
So,
soon
do
as
you
all of
think-
them are
wait.
treated equally?
No, wait. So do you think that the people who have been treated badly based upon their race should forget about that?
Mm.
No, I'm not saying forget it.
But if the 20-year-olds don't remember that this is Native American land, that's kind of forgetting about it. That's kind of forgetting that the America's built on the rape and the pillage and the killing of the actual people who are meant to be there.
The Trail of Tears.
I can never agree with
social media aspect of it is now
what do
you
you
have
call
a
it?
lot of people whose eyes are open.
Hold on. Start over, Leola. We didn't hear you. Go ahead. Say it again.
No, I said I have to disagree slightly with the other guy with the accent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. But what I was just thinking about is like that's actually an education fail where you can say where there's teachers not like doing their best in teaching people their history, as well as parents need to understand what they need to teach their children so that they can have these children go out into the regular world and not have that, not already think there's something wrong with me. And then that someone, or if you feel like something's wrong, then you're having a resentment. And for the rest of your life, you're going to be carrying that resentment that turns into so many disgusting different things. So
Okay,
I just
Leola.
think it's about changing perception.
Okay, Leo.
Like
Now,
was done to you.
Hold on, Alvin. Let me ask you this, Leola. Right?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I was just putting my head down because I knew something was coming.
That's as you should. That's okay. It's okay. So you said that the school should first. You put it in chronological order. You said the school and then the parents. Yes. Okay. So let me ask you this: are you under the impression that school, in the context of where we live in America, not just Texas, in America, is not political?
When it comes to schools?
Yes. Do you think that school is not political?
It should not be, but it is.
Okay. So you do agree that school is political, yes?
Yeah, the people, the administrators, everything, a lot of those people have never held a job teaching children, and yet they're the ones who say what the rules are, but they've never sat in a classroom with a child. So I think it's a political thing because those people go and get their jobs, and they don't know a thing about how to run a school.
So go ahead.
I'm still only thinking from this has happened in Texas, so I can only speak on what's happening in Texas.
Okay.
And then, as well as the schools I went to was completely different. So.
Okay. So check this out, Leola. I agree with a lot of what you say, right? But a minute ago, we agree that not everybody is treated equally in America, right? So when you're one of the people that are being treated good, let's just say a Caucasian, right? They have the privilege of saying things like, what does race even matter? It doesn't matter. Let's just throw it away. I don't suffer because how I look. I'm an American. I don't, so there's no consequence. So it's easy for somebody to say that because, hey, I'm being treated good. But then when we all agree that, hey, not everybody is treated the same way and it's based off how they look, when race is the reason why you're not being treated as good, it's harder for that individual to throw it away, considering that person's race is always used against them. So it's like, okay, I want to throw it away, but why am I not being treated as good for this thing that I want to throw away? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but I still think it's a matter of perspective.
It most definitely is.
Can I?
And I got one more thing to say, Robert. I promise I'm gonna shut up.
You first.
From the first, and I'll give you an example. I know this person from Canada. Okay, he talks kind of like you, where it's like in Canada. I don't know if they had slavery like that, but the racism up there isn't really so much of a thing. So it's from a different perspective. So from that perspective, it's like, why are you guys talking about race all the time? Like, this is not a thing where I'm from. Why come you can't throw it away? But I'm like, that's because you grew up in a place where it's not a thing. So from the outside looking in, you're like, why y'all tripping? But if you grew up in places like, a black person in a place like Mississippi or Alabama or even in Illinois is bad. You're going to be like, we talk about it because we're treated unfairly based off how we look. So we want to throw it away, but we can't. All right, go ahead.
Let me say this briefly, right? You all don't know Leola. I conversate with her. I will not put her information out there unless she wants it to be put out there, right? However, I understand that she comes from a different, as some people in college will call it, space.
Right.
It's not indicative of our space. And
I can tell.
We should understand why she's saying what she's saying without condemning her. Right? We're being cordial with her, and I'll let her know that. That's how I fucking go around
right,
here.
and I understand. That's why I was talking about perspective, because, and she reminds me of one of my friends, where he comes from Canada. Race has never been an issue with his whole life experience. So when people talk about race, he's like, what's the big deal? Because it's not a part of my experience. Right. I see black people every day. Nobody talks about me being white, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you grow up in a different environment, your perspective is going to be different. So, Leola, like, I don't know, but it appears to me that maybe you've grown up. I mean, and this is actually a good thing. Maybe you've been around people where race really doesn't matter, right? And you have a perspective of, hey, I'm an American. I love all people. How you look doesn't matter to me. And I wish that it didn't even have to be a thing. So I wish I could have grown up in that kind of space, right? All of us did, but not everybody has grown up in that kind of space, unfortunately. So it is a perspective thing.
So let's give Leola a chance to respond, and then we'll go to Robert.
Okay, I'll just quickly, because I'm gonna get to bed. You know how I know about my sleep.
Oh, Jesus, so, Joseph Mary.
My beauty rest. Yes, sorry. I was saying, it's about perspective. I went to Texas Southern University. I know y'all have heard about them. They're March Madness right now. And the one thing I noticed is, yes, I can blend in, but the moment I open my mouth and people know I'm a different kind of talking person. So, but I looked at it and I said, there's a lot of people who are wounded from things that have happened to them in the past, or to their family, or things that they have seen. But I think if everyone knew their history, they would understand, like, there would be no America without slavery. And you should look at this monument as a thing like, hey, my ancestors made America great. So that's why I say when you change your perspective, then there's so much can be lifted off your shoulders versus putting so much on them. And that's super hippy-dippy, I know. But I just think for this next generation coming up, even they're going to have black kids and everything, but they aren't, and then you have mixed race kids, and they're not going to know, where do I fit in? So that's why I'm saying we are getting closer to race not being an issue, as well as we need to educate our kids. And I will go to the teachers and I say, for what reason is my child being said that she's black? And then, so now I'm taking her out of that school, but because I said that's not her life, that's someone else's life. So you do everything you want to protect your kids and make them live a happy life. So that's why I was like, I don't like race for that very notion, is that I can walk around and yeah, you might see me as a black woman, but who cares what you see? It's about what I see. Every single time I get anytime I get that where they said check if you're African American and all that kind of stuff, I just put other. If they change it, then they're kind of violating my rights, so they don't change it.
But here's I mean, I don't know how you look like, but here's the unfortunate thing. If something happened, a crime or something, and you're one of the witnesses, the police are going to put a description. And who was there? Well, there was a black woman over there. They're going to put that in the police report. You know, I mean, and that's why I'm saying I would love to throw it away, but it's difficult when the government is shoving it in your face at every turn, you know, literally every turn. If you're at the scene of the crime, who was there?
Somehow you have to rise. You have to like rise above it, you know, because I can tell you, I've never had in my 25 years of living, in quotation marks, I've never had an experience about race until I was 30. And,
right.
Oh, damn it, off code, you know my age.
Right.
And then what happened, when I saw that happen, I said, oh my God, I've been living in a bubble. And I'm so
that's a great, I'm glad, listen, I'm happy for you.
That I saw that to happen, to say, okay, now I can say I've had this situation happen. It's making me stronger to fight that fight for my children.
It's a good, listen, in no way am I saying it's a bad I wish I grew up in a bubble, right? It's a good thing that you grew up in a bubble. You know, maybe if I grew up in a bubble, my perspective probably wouldn't be so grim, right? But the thing is, though, it's a difference between ignoring it or letting it get to you. So I can, like, race doesn't consume my life, right? And we were just talking, I was just talking to Offco earlier. We can't use it as an excuse, right? You can't use your race as an excuse for failing, okay?
Right.
But but at the same time, I can acknowledge that it's a thing. Now, that will actually help me to maneuver around it because it's a thing. Now I know how to move around it. I know what to do and what not to do because I understand it exists, you know? Because
and we also don't want to negate the fact that you're talking about your babies, right? And that you don't want to put that in their face, right? However, the question becomes for me, is it constructive for them to not know something that will eventually, just like you said, even if it was later on in years, it will touch them? And the question becomes, how will they be able to deal with it if mama never spoke about it at all?
Prepared them for it.
Yeah, I would say that when the same thing how I felt when I was able to give a history lesson after that debacle.
Mhm.
I was able to give a history lesson as to why I'm black. And I was like, and I don't even say this, and that's how upset I was. But I just feel when you all of us with children, we have the chance to make it so they're not going to feel scared when they go someplace. Like everyone has this. When I think LeBron James was on television once, his house got graffitied, and he went up there and he just said, no matter what, no matter how rich you are or whatever, you're black in America. And I was like, that was his platform to say something positive. But now there's little kids looking at him and going, well, if LeBron said it, I might have not even tried to do anything. Education's going to suck. All of that stuff.
So one last thing, Leola. I know you got to go to bed, but here's the thing. Now, I don't even think I'm engaging in hyperbole when I say this. Knowing your race and understanding that it's a thing is literally a life or death situation. Like me, for example, me understanding I'm looked at as a black man, right? And me understanding that young black men are looked at as aggressive and potential dangers, right? When I see a police officer pull up on me, I immediately get my hands out of my pockets. Immediately. Before they even, because what's happening is I'm a young black man. I may have a gun. So if I'm walking with my hands in my pockets, there's a potential I may die if I pull my hands out in a certain way that makes them uncomfortable. You see, this is a life or death situation based off how I look. Now, I would tell my kids that because it's an actual. I wish I could ignore something like that. I wish it was a thing, but you know what? If I'm a white kid with a sweater vest, I can walk with I could do all kinds of stuff. I can have hands in my pockets. I could,
You could draw your gun.
I could draw
your gun.
Literally, these white people were pointing their shotguns at police officers. And the police said, hey, they have their First Amendment rights. But if you're a black person and you got your hands in your pockets, you may get killed if you don't pull your hands out in a particular way. So it's like, yo, these are things. And it has the potential to be a life or death situation. I wish the world wasn't like that. But that's what it is. So now when a cop pulls up on me, I slowly, before they even get out the car, I slowly get my hands out of my pockets just so they can see my hands.
I think Robert wants to say something to you, Leola, before you go to bed, right?
Okay.
I just only want. Wait a minute, Robert. I just only want to say this before Robert talks to you and get your response to it, right? Just a question. Are you familiar with stratification?
Stratification?
Yes.
No.
Okay, stratification as defined socially in this society specifically is the arrangement or classification of something into different groups. Right? This is a reality. Because we could have evidence of that by the definition that it's in the lexicon, right? And so I'm wondering if you think that even though it exists in the lexicon, therefore a part of the society, that stratification should be omitted because you feel like it? Should it be?
That's your question?
Yes.
No, I feel social, with that social stratification.
No, it's just
It's
stratification.
something, or staff, okay. It's not something that's ever going to go away, even if we all look like the same people. There would still be a way to separate yourself from those people over there that are still the same color. So there's always going to be something to change to put the rules in. So, I mean, all you have to do is decide, is that what you want to be? And completely feel like, man, that's life. And that same life that you have to feel about yourself, it stays in you, and then you're going to pass it on to your children. And I just call it like a snowball of hate. Because at some point, it's going to be, someone's going to do something crazy, but they don't even know why. So, but that's just from my perspective, living and raising the children. So.
Okay, so we got Robert to ask you a question before you go, Leola.
Okay,
Robert.
so my question, it was just an example. So let's say that Donald Trump said, in 6 months' time, you're going to do away with dollars. You're going to do away with it.
Mm-hmm.
The people that would be happy with that would be the people with money already. The people without money would be absolutely screwed. And basically, the talking about I don't see race, or it shouldn't matter, is because you're rich, and so it won't matter to you. And if it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. And then what they were saying about taking his hands out of his pockets, depending on how he does that, he could be shot or not. If that was a reality for you, then it would shape you. And it's not a bad thing to teach your child to be cautious. That's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing not to teach your child. That's a bad thing. So if you don't teach them about race and the differences and where they are in the hierarchy and why it's like that, then when they get into a situation, because they've got no knowledge, no training, that could be them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that it's easy for like you've said that you're a black woman, so it's not that you're white and you don't have experience of this, but it's easy for white people to say kind of what you're saying because it won't affect them here or there. It's in society they're rich, and if you're rich, you can't tell a poor person, buck up, your life ain't that bad, because you're not living it, basically. That was the point I was trying to make with that rubbish example. But if Donald Trump did away with money, and then you're not going to buy nothing no more, or you're going to swap money for gold, all the people that have money, it's not a problem. They're happy. And all the people who don't have money, they know what time it is. They know. Mm-hmm. And I guess in that scenario, you've got money, so it won't affect you. You'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, I don't. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough to where I can keep my children in that bubble, if you will. But as soon as I hear any conversation around them about color, colorism, race, I'm just like, this is a trash, nonsense, garbage conversation, because that's not how I was raised. So,
but it sounds like,
and I look at it. Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it sounds like there's a problem with being black. You're not saying it, but
no, there's no
problem
like a problem with being black at all.
So then,
I'm like,
then the talk about race
sunray for people that are okay with being called a color. I just refuse to be called a color. That's it. Like, what you see of me is what you see of me, and you're putting something on me. But really, I'm an American. So the moment that you say, what kind of American? Sounds like the kind of American who carries a gun every day. So, come at me.
Okay. So if I said you was an Australian,
I carry a gun.
Would it be okay for me to ask you what type of Australian, or are all Australians the same? Because you're equating, you're basically saying that all Americans are the same. But that's not true.
Color preferences are the same.
Say it again, Robert. She didn't hear you. Say it again.
Okay. I said, so if you were Australian, would it be okay to ask you what type of Australian you are? Because they're clearly two different types. One in power, one not in power. One hunted, one not hunted. So in that respect, it's good to ask. Not good to ask, but there are two different types of Australian. They're not the same. There are at least 3 different types of American. They're not the same. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And
I don't, like I said, it's not about race. It's about, at this point, it's about money. Because if you can be super rich and be any color you wanted, and anything around you is going to be treated better. And like, that's what America's at. It's like, people want to say, oh, how are we so, like, talk about race all the time? Like, no, everyone else talks about race all the time and gives an excuse as to why they're not doing more within their lives. So I refuse to let that happen in my home.
Okay,
but
race being an excuse.
I'm not going to go and fight it for everyone else, because everyone else, they're going to have to come to that own conclusion themselves. How far have you gotten? Because you're still talking about slavery.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on and talking to us, Leola. You know, I will talk to you later and let you get your beauty sleep.
It's my pleasure. It was nice talking to you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you on again, Leola. Yeah, first time Leola's been on.
All right, you guys have a great night.
Hold on, Leola. How you gonna say we'll see? How was that? What? Jesus, Joseph and Mary.
What?
How you gonna say we'll
dang.
see? How you gonna say we'll see though? When I say,
oh no, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
We have spoken at length, and you know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. Let's be professional.
Just making sure.
All right. All
right. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Yeah. So that was an interesting conversation, wasn't it?
Because my standpoint, I'm firstly like, you lot ain't even Americans. So stop it. You lot ain't even Americans. Stop that nonsense.
I heard what they were saying though.
It makes a difference. It does make a difference. The Native American guy has happened, and he's not meant to. Trying to get him to forget it is trying to cover it up, trying to go on like it's a good thing.
Right.
And it's not a fucking good thing.
Hey, I definitely get what you're saying.
And just from that perspective, any form of I don't see color, is trying to negate what happened to him. Oh, we're all Americans. It happened to all of us. No, it didn't. There's different types of Americans. There's Americans in power. There's Americans poor. They're not the same people. Not the same people. How many Native Americans are there? What are there less Native American than black people? That's insane. That's insane. That's genocide of millions of people. That because it's a bit uncomfortable, we're not going to talk about.
Trail of tears.
Where does talking about slavery, where has it got you and rare-tear? Well, not talking about it got the Native American guy eradicated.
Wow.
Talking about it did.
I understand.
Because if we talked about it, we would have had to come to an agreement that if the European absolutely wrong,
right?
And there should be punishment. You can't do wrong things and not get punished. Black people go to jail all the time.
Yeah, you make salient points. You know, you've made salient points throughout this conversation and shit. You know, I can't deny that. You know, however, again, as we go back to white domination, I have to get up in a couple of hours to go back to the plantation.
I like how that link.
To make this money. So I'm gonna kick it with
boy,
you.
You gotta be up in 2 hours, boss.
You feel me? Like, goddamn, boss. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Let me get a little cup of sleep. You know what I'm saying? But
if you can't work it, I'ma find another darky that can.
I'm gonna find another nigga.
I'll be there.
You know what I'm saying? Oh shit! So I'm gonna get up.
It's good. It was good to hear. It was good to hear that you could live in a American bubble, though. That was good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. That it's not so widespread that every person has got the exact same experience. That's good.
I agree.
That is good to hear. But if she has kids with some dark skin nigga, her kids will be treated different than how she is.
What she already did.
Hey man.
Well, then, if they're a darker shade than she is, it's a bit irresponsible for her to not be telling them that they're black people.
Is the oldest? Oh, she left.
Yeah, she gone.
Yeah, she went.
Man, look, it's more of a level of compassion than anger, because there's a lot of people that grew up like her, right?
Yeah.
It's because see, there's two ends of this. There's black people living in America that are completely oblivious to racism, right?
Yeah.
Because they're living up in sections of the country where it's not in your face. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and
it's
I suspect
ambiguous.
that's where she lives, because like I said, I didn't want to give away, who she is and all of that shit, but it's someone, I will say this, she is a part of a tribe that you definitely would know of, right? And is affluent. However, I'm not going to say that unless she feels comfortable with saying.
I mean, I could listen. I already knew that before you even said anything, just based on how she was talking.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, again, there's two extremes to this.
It matters,
Yeah, it matters. But so then, okay, and this is perfect. So you have the super hyper black romanticists that blame everything on that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people that say
in the
it
bubble
doesn't exist at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now-
give me the
now this is my stance
baby
on it.
bear porridge right there. I'm on the baby bear porridge side. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Just
right.
right. I'm in the middle.
Matter of fact, I'll say this. I'm going to say it's like 90-10. So actually it's 100. Okay, because my percentage is actually what I used to say is that it's 90 to 95% personal responsibility, and maybe 10 to 5% you'll have to deal with like racism being in your way, right? But now I'm going to say it's
your statistics. Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? But now, you know what? I'm actually going to say it's 100% your responsibility, because you're the one that's in control of your body. The forces that or obstacles in your way have nothing to do with you doing what you got to do to make it work. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if you're not trying to make something happen, it ain't finna happen.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Nothing is nothing. Yeah.
But it's very important to acknowledge that it's there. You just can't be blind to the fact that it's not. It's there. But it won't stop me per se. Hey, but look, I think she got quiet. I was being careful because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it's a life or death situation sometimes. I had to tell her, look, I'm telling you, I make sure a police officer can see both of my hands. If I come in contact, I want him to be as comfortable as possible.
Because if he's uncomfortable,
that's not good for me.
Could be your life.
Now look how the logic has flipped. It's the job of the police officer to make the citizens as comfortable as possible.
Nope.
There's
serve and protect. I'm helping you serve and protect. Right. How are you doing that? By taking my hands out of the car so you don't shoot me. Shit.
The number one responsibility of a police officer is to de-escalate.
Yeah.
There's a crazy situation going on. You bring the police over there to de-escalate.
But the police keep getting scared and popping off first.
Yeah. But now, as a citizen, my job is to de-escalate the cop. Let me not escalate. Let me find ways to make him comfortable.
But that's based on your skin tone, because if you go into the black church and you spray it up and you're white, you go to Burger King.
You go to Burger King.
So the cop is making you as comfortable as possible.
Oh, look at this. So listen, Trayvon Martin gets killed, and he's a thug. He smokes weed. He got expelled from school. This white dude in Florida shoots up all these kids. He had mental issues. He had a hard life growing up. What?
And that's okay. It's okay for him to shoot up the school. That's okay.
You know, he's had a rough time. His father wasn't around.
He has affluenza. Yes.
Affluenza. Oh my goodness. See, so look, it's there, but let's not exaggerate it. You know, I always say, you know, us Hebrews always like curses, right? Off code.
Yeah.
So there's a particular curse that I've created or I've made up. Black people suffer from the curse of the false dichotomy. Black people deal with this. It either has to be this or that. There's no in between. It's either 100% this or 100% that.
That's true.
There's no gray. Black people have a hard time dealing with gray. It's either all racism or there's no racism.
Right.
It's either all personal responsibility or it's all the white man fault. You know, it's just like it's the curse of the false dichotomy, man. We and then
because we have to pick a side.
Yes.
In everything we have to pick a side. We have to pick. Gray is not an option for us.
So
if you take one hand out of your trouser pocket when the police is pulling up on you, you still get shot. That's a gray area. It's both your hands out or both your hands in.
You see what I'm saying?
We don't get the option of gray area.
Now look, I'll give you an example, Robert. So the whole swirling issue, right?
What's that?
Oh shit! You don't know about swirling? Oh shit! Tell them.
Where black people get with white people relationship. Okay. So listen, let me tell you the false and I ain't go in off code probably know who I'm talking about. This is what I say. I am not attracted to white women. You know, I prefer sisters. I've never been with a white woman. But if somebody wants to go off with a white woman, I don't really mind. Now, to the person who's cursed with the false dichotomy, you know what that sounds like? Oh, you're just saying that because you love white women and you want to be with a white woman.
I already said that I don't, and I don't.
Right, but because I I didn't make such an aggressive stance against it. It translates in her head, oh, you want to be with a white woman.
Oh, I know. I know who. Hey, but guess what? Guess what, Alvin? And that's why I pose it the way that I pose it. What I'm saying, I let a motherfucker know. What I'm saying is not to uplift Baps or nothing. It ain't about that. It's about that I made a conscious decision that I'm not interested in being raped by white women.
And I was fine with what you said. No, listen. I was fine with what you said. You said, hey, if a person chooses to be raped by white women, that's on them.
That's on them.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm saying I'm fine with you saying that. But when dealing, it's what they hear in their head that I have a problem. It's the comprehension.
Hold on, but one thing you're missing though, specifically with the situation you're talking about, the situation was with white people. It did get raped by white people.
No, come on.
Of course.
I'm a bit
confused. It did not get accepted, right? And so now it's kind of like a rebellious phase, right? And which somewhat pointed motherfucker into the direction of rebellious niggers, right?
Right.
That's what that is. That's what I suspect, anyway.
Yeah, but it's more so of the comprehension issue. It's like I told you I'm not attracted to white women. I've never been with a white woman. I'm simply saying I don't care if that happens.
You're talking about females, though, Alvin. I mean, come on.
The comprehension, she translated that into, oh, if you want to be with a white woman, go ahead. We don't want you. How did you interpret what I say?
Because her interpretation is not your interpretation as a male. Come on, Alvin, you gotta understand that.
It's because it's not such a hard. It's because I didn't aggressively say I don't fuck with swirlers. They're terrible because it wasn't that aggressive.
Yeah,
it has to be the extreme. If I'm not extreme, then I'm on the other side.
Exactly.
Like that.
There's no contradiction in what you're saying, and you're acting like you're so befuddled and shit. Like, why are you acting like that?
Befuddling to me. It's befuddling.
Why? Why?
Because when somebody tells me that, I get it. Okay, I can see. Okay, so they're not really with it for themselves, and they're a little bit indifferent towards it. Okay, cool. But with them, it's like a.
Well, you have a bona Batman or you're gay.
Now here's the thing. I do have a problem with black or BAMs generalizing black women as being difficult or having attitudes, and this is why I'm dating white women. So I do have a problem.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that.
That's different. That's
the black women first.
Right.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But guess what? Generally does not mean all.
Right. But if a guy is like, hey, you know, I go to the gym every day. I seen a white chick up there I kind of like. We started talking. Now we together. And he doesn't hate black women. It's just this is the woman that was available, and you know, I don't have a problem with that. That's not my cup of tea. I don't, you know, white women have an expiration date that's a little faster than what I would like.
No, it's not that. It's because we're all guys. It's because
we're all guys. Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like, go ahead, Rob.
It's because we're all guys, so I'm not gonna hate on you if you live in Iowa and there's only white girls.
Right.
But it's a guy.
There only white girls. You're not meant to have sex because having sex with do your thing. Your thing. Because I'm gonna do my thing.
But Robert, it's gotten worse. Listen, Kendrick Lamar was chastised for not being with a white girl, but a light-skinned girl.
Jeez,
they took it up a notch.
That's one of my sisters.
Like this girl,
you can't say that.
This girl went on Twitter saying he's supposed to be some conscious rapper, but he got a light-skinned girlfriend. Yo, I'm like, so now if you don't date somebody that looks like Grace Jones, you're a coon. Like, this is where it's going. Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Okay, so remember that you were saying that the comprehension skills are just
It's depleted.
Well, it's a mental condition. If I say 2 plus 2 is 4, then anything other than that, you're mental. But it was the words that you used. Conscious.
Right.
If you're conscious, you don't catch shit like that.
See, you see, Rob. You see how Alvin has done this in a couple of instances, right? And it's good we're having this conversation because it might be constructive, right? You're not seeing the words that you're using, Alvin. I suspect, right? Conscious. It seems like when we look at the context of what conscious means in the typical realm, right? In the conventional realm, let's say that, right? It's wrapped around a connotation, right? So
right,
it's indicative of a motherfucker denouncing all other females.
Look, you know what? Matter of fact, I'll say this: when we talk about conscious,
even African,
right? When you talk about conscious in this so-called conscious community, whatever that means.
Whatever that means, right.
All the other communities are unconscious.
You gotta ask the person who you talking to about that shit.
Right, whatever that means. It's basically people that remix African culture inside of America, right? So it's a remix. They're taking bits and pieces of stuff and trying to slap it together, and it consists of this. You talk about white supremacy, which is good. You understand white supremacy is real. It's a rejection of all religion. If you're religious, no, and then they do this, but then they do this thing. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual.
Bullshit.
If you say that,
bullshit.
You are. That you see that statement right there, and I know you gonna go crazy on this statement. Like, I know you gonna break it down. When people say, "I'm not religious, I'm spiritual," that is the universal code for consciousness. So they'll say, "Oh, you're conscious."
Oh, well, hold on. Let me break it down even further than that, right? Let me take it a step further than what you thought that I would go ham on, right? I've come to the conclusion that even within the so-called intellectual realms, it's really religious. And why do I say that? Because they will talk shit about the famo who reads out of these books and shit, right? However, they will come with their own books. They will come with their own gods in the form of people with PhD or DR in the back of their name, right? And motherfucking hunt your ass down. They're religious as well.
Check this out. And now they have a Wakandan movie that is the base. So now they can look at the Wakanda movie, and this is the pinnacle of our religion. Now listen, these. Let me tell you something. And this is now I'm starting to hate this movie. I'm starting to hate the movie now. Just let me tell you why I hate the movie. That movie is the physical manifestation of the heaven of every Afrocentric. It is the pinnacle of what these conscious community Afrocentric people envision of African heaven. A highly technologically no white people civilization where they got their own schools, their own technology, and they're smarter. His sister is the smartest person in the world, literally, right? That's her superpower. And it's the very essence of African American romanticism embodied in a 2-hour movie.
And ain't doing nothing, and generally are not doing anything to move towards this goddamn shit.
It is the manifestation. Like when you go, if you look back for the past 5 or 10 years, about 5 or 6 years, this conscious community thing, all the stuff they talk about of we need our own schools, we need our own government, we got technology. But today we had all this technology, we had computers. That movie is all of that in 2 hours.
That's why I hate that fucking shit. That's why I said I'm not spending my money to see that shit. I'm not talking. Hey, I only talked about it because Resh wanted to talk about it.
Oh okay? Man, I hate you off cold. Now I don't even like the movie no more.
That shit ain't shit. That shit ain't shit. Okay, for real. That shit. Hey, I was disgusted at the motherfucking Birth of a Nation and the response that it got. I had to make a fucking video. Like, fuck goddamn Black Power and fuck all that shit. I'm like, wait a minute.
So look, I can't believe. Damn it, off. See, I off call. I can't stand you, man. Now I don't like that movie.
It's uncomfortable.
Listen, no, I don't like it because now I know what it represents. It's all of that just bagged up into a movie.
In a fucking ball. Make a motherfucker feel so good. It's like a drug. It's like a drug.
Remember what we were saying though, that we're either one or the other.
Yeah.
So it's what you just said, but it's also the fact that we ain't shit, that we don't have no technology, that we don't have. It's that as well, slyly.
But see, actually, no. Let me tell you what you did. Let me tell you what you did. You made it corny. Now the movie's corny to me because
it is corny though. It ain't. I ain't making it. It is corny. That's the fucking reality.
Oh man!
Like what the fuck? I mean, listen. If it's a thing where you're coming from, you are a comic book buff, right? And you understand the Marvel universe and all that kind of shit. That's different. But this is not that, and you know it's not that.
These people don't know nothing about Black
Panther. They don't know a goddamn thing about that shit.
Nothing. They don't know about the kid, the child, Storm.
You don't have to read any comics.
Listen,
to be able to watch
these
that.
are motherfuckers that think Superman is a part of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
No,
okay?
No. Let me tell you something, off cold. This is why Black people are so sick, okay? So I remember Obama 2012, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was at a party at my cousin's house, and she had a couple of these quote unquote conscious sisters. Okay, you know what I'm saying? They got the dreadlocks, they got the nose rings, they got the onks, everything popping. So we're watching the debate with Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. So Barack Obama would make a statement about some highly complex tax code system, right? And the sisters are like, yeah, get him. I'm like, y'all don't know what the fuck he talking about.
Don't know what the fuck you talking about. Don't know what the fuck you talking about.
No,
none. Hey, like but hold on, Alvin. Guess what? If that was a what they call a mulatto black female, right? That's colloquially called. Oh, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't do that. But it's just they're in there. You have like, you know why? Because I didn't know. I knew more than what they knew. But when they stole into highly complex tax code policy,
for the 1%, that's just above your pay grade. You wouldn't need to know about that shit.
That shit is crazy. I'm not buying it. You know, it's corny. Just as Alvin said, it's corny as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to motherfucking turn into a statistically relevant amount of young black males or females wanting to get into STEM programs. It's not. It's not gonna happen.
No.
They want fucking powers like Black Panther and goddamn
Killmonger.
You know what I'm saying? They want to jump around and show light shows and shit. Okay, without understanding the shit to come with it. So I'm not, you know, I mean, we had ancestors who talked about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Not in the same context that we're talking about it. However, it was still relative to what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I'm not buying that shit. But again, let me go ahead and take my ass to sleep so I can get up here and go to the goddamn plantation and shit. I'm gonna get up with y'all in a minute though. But we gonna get you on the program too, Alvin. Why can't your ass be like this any other time instead of being on that goddamn shock jock shit? Okay.
Who also shock? Hey man, I'll be on some.
You be on some shock jock shit. We talking about one thing, and Alvin comes in and say some more off the wall ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Taking the conversation away from where it is, right? I'm like, goddamn, you're too intelligent to be fucking doing this shit. Are you doing this shit for publicity? What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Hey, no, it depends who's on in the panel. No, let me tell you how that happens. I come in on the thing, and I might say something, and then I might know, and be like, wait a minute, Alvin, what you meant by this? Now, that thing that I said may not be relevant to the conversation, right? I'm like, yo, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. They're like, no, Alvin, explain that. So then I'll have to explain that. And then that's how the conversation.
No, don't try to paint that goddamn picture. Don't pull that bullshit on me, okay? Because I done been in a conversation where Alvin came in. He don't know what the fuck is being talked about, and he just throws some shit in the fucking atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? And then it preps them to ask you, what you talking about? And then he go off into some shit that deviates from the goddamn conversation. He do that shit on purpose. I'm telling you.
On everything, I don't do it on purpose.
No, you do that shit on purpose. I am not an idiot, okay? I'm far from an idiot. Man. No, you do that shit on purpose. I don't understand why you want to negate that shit.
They take. I'll be like, look. Okay, this is what happened. So then, when I don't want to answer the question, you know, because it will throw out the conversation. They say, man, Alvin buck dancing. So then then I gotta say so.
You hear this bullshit, Rob? Let me tell you what happens, Rob. Let me tell you what generally happens, because I've been in conversation with Alvin for quite some time, right? So me and you and I are talking about, let's say, things that are happening in England, right?
Cool.
He would come out of no fucking where and talk about, you know, these hoes talking about they like to get raped. What? Wait a minute.
What?
Nah.
What? Wait a minute. No. And then,
let me tell you.
No, wait a minute. And then he'll get the females, and then he'll get the females or the males engaged in this shit, and now they want to know. Wait a minute. What do you mean, Alvin? What are you talking about?
No, let me tell you. You ain't do it right. I'm saying if y'all talking about England, I would say, man, you know, Henry VIII tried to have a baby with his sister. Right.
You see, you hear this bullshit? You hear this bullshit, Rob? Just deviate the conversation. Talk about, he had a baby.
But what? It's England, though. I'm on topic.
Fuck.
It's about England.
No, you ain't on topic, goddammit. Fuck that.
After you say that, the first conversation is buried. And now
everything gone and shit.
But it's about England, though. It was still about England.
Let me tell you something about Alvin. Alvin is the goddamn Eminem of goddamn hangouts, okay? The motherfucker come in and say some more off the wall shit that Negroes are not accustomed to and be like, what? Wait a minute. You can't just say that.
And I'll be like, never mind. And then Rob, I'll be like, you know what, never mind. No, you don't have to.
Yeah, you can't drop that.
And he doing that shit on purpose too. He doing that shit on purpose too. Talking about nah.
That's tactic free. You know what
I'm saying? Hey, man.
Hey, but I'm gonna get at y'all in a minute though.
All right,
All right,
come on,
get
let's
that
go.
sleep.